Hello everyone, took me a little while to set things up, but we should finally be online. Yep, everything is working just as intended. And we are here today in Okayama for the, what should this be, fifth round. Yeah, this is the fifth round of the MYASS championship. Of course, this time this is as we say, sprint round, so we're gonna have two races, one with the, of course, 30 minutes and qualifying grid, and the second one, of course, being the first race result, inverted for the race start procedure. That being said, everyone is now joining, and we got, well, new faces, old faces, all kind of people we already seen. We got Jason Short here, who decided finally to show us his new livery, which is, well, as you can kinda see, kinda locked in, and I kinda like also I post my E1 S4 draft regulations to be here, so this better be good, and hopefully it is, but as we know already, hope is the last thing you lose. And here in this championship in Assetto Corsa 7, Skies Unknown, which also has a hint of little depression here on the on the track. Let me just try and show you this correctly. There we go. We hope that everything is gonna be alright. Also, a little neat details I found on this livery is that the fact that this roll bar is made of spaghetti for some reason. So yeah, keep an eye on that, of course. So, of course, we are just in practice for the time being for a totality of 45 minutes, but with 10 drivers already on the grid, I feel like this may be quite an interesting round for many different reasons, which I'm gonna hopefully expand and explain in the next few moments. So, first of all, this is Okayama, in a circuit in Japan, also known for being, well, you know, kind of a peculiar circuit. Formula 1 raced here in 1994 and 1995 and had, well, not really the most interesting race ever, but I feel like this track is a little bit underrated because although it's not really made for Formula 1 or, you know, that kind of cars, although I think Super Formula races here, I feel like it's a nice little track. It has nice technical corners, very middle to low speed, which takes full advantage, of course, of the mechanical grip of the tires. And for that reason, you kind of have to be a little precise to gain performance around here, especially in some corners, which I'm gonna, of course, show better later on with maybe some on boards. So as we see here, Jason Short trying to find the limits of grip and whatever there is on the track, we also see the other contenders, which are, of course, Darts. Then we got also Falcon, forever just disconnected, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna come back quite soon. We also got Alex Maggio back, so, you know, the most dangerous guy on the grid is here, and he's here to dominate once again. Then we got Skilltech, which is one of the Coma Autosport drivers, who is here, of course, to impress and show what he's capable of. Then we got Lobter, round 2. Was it round 2? Actually, I think round 3. No, sorry, round 2 race winner. Here, of course, to show us how it's done. And of course, we got Spartanex, which should look like a new entry for you, but it's not, because he was subscribed to this championship since the very beginning, but didn't really find too much time to race in. And now that he's finally here, I can actually show you his livery, which has been made by himself, and it's quite nice because it has Rusty's logo from Armored Core 6 on the side. Also a nice little, how it's said, the Lancer reference. If you played Lancer RPG, the tabletop game, you should recognize this logo, of course. And yeah, all kind of stuff, which makes up for a cool livery, in my opinion. So hopefully we'll see what he's capable of, and I kinda cheer for him. So wish him luck, of course. Then, of course, we got Vipersonic back. Tates also is here, and then one of the most favorite for these races is Adred, who show some incredible speed, especially in the last round. And he's here once again to impress, and hopefully he's gonna be able to, you know, get into a podium position or a podium fight. But we're gonna find out soon if he's able to or not. Meanwhile, they're telling me that temperature are a little off, so I'm not too sure. I'm gonna say I don't know. I'm gonna check real quick the track temperature, but I feel like something got a little oofy, which maybe makes the track a little too hot, which, I mean, can happen. You know, it's a hot day here in Japan, so everything is fine. Anyway, in the chat they tell me as of 2025, Okayama is fine. Sorry, it's the first round of the Super GT series. We'll see how this now historic track adapts to the Miatas. I think it works quite well. I mean, we had a lot of you know, test races here, especially to see how the track works and if everything worked fine. So I feel like this should make some interesting races. Also, as for the tests we made and what we learned on our side, we found out that, well, first of all, stops work really nicely here around this track because they can make you gain a lot of time, really, especially in technical sections. And as overtaking spots, really, there are a lot in this track. Like turn 1, as you can see here, is one overtaking spot. Then also, I think this place here, which is the hairpin, is another very good overtaking spot. Although it's very interesting as a corner, because the main thing is that you can actually get into that corner in many ways and exit that corner in a different way, but still be competitive. So, you know, the main good thing is that due to that nature for the corner, there is no correct way to tackle it, and thus overtaking can be both quite interesting, and battling can go with a a lot of door banging and whatever into there, which can end up in some interesting and, of course, hopefully exciting racing. Anyway, let me just answer something real quick. We were asking ourselves about the temperatures. I'm pretty sure they are fine. So, as we were saying, the other hairpin, which is this one, is another very good overtaking spot. Then the entire section that goes here is actually a very nice place to have some wheel-to-wheel battle. And one last overtaking spot, which may not look like so, but it's actually a very nice one, is the last corner here, which has been proved to be an effective overtaking spot if, you know, people actually manage to get close enough to try an overtaking maneuver over there. Now, what else is there to be said about this racetrack, really? We got the first 140.3, which is a pretty dang fast lap time from, of course, Alex Maggio. Then we got Falcon, currently the second fastest time with 141.4, followed by Lopter, and then Darts, Skilltech, E, Spartan X, Viper Sonic, who, I mean, he has a 6-minute lap time, so I guess he's still yet to set a lap time, really. Teats, Adrian, and then Forever, who is still in the pit lane. I guess we're gonna watch Jason Short, actually more than Jason Short, let's see maybe either Falcon or Darts, one of the two, from onboard to see what kind of track this is, because of course I talked about the corners, I talked about the overtaking spots, but I didn't really show you the track. So hopefully, if Falcon doesn't go into the pit lane sometime soon, we're gonna be able to see how the track is from his onboard. Now, through the last corner, a very tricky one, we're gonna start the lap on the main straight. The finishing line is right there after, you know, the starting grid there. Here, then you usually brake here under the bridge. Here, instead, Falcon decided to brake very late, and the results are quite clearly shown as he goes wide. And then one of the fastest technical section here, which is a fast S. Falcon tries to grip the car as much as possible, but goes a little too wide and loses a little bit of time. Then you go flat out around this section, which is a left-right-hander right here, and then you brake for the hairpin on the right. Here, usually you can go either fully in third gear or in second gear. Usually I suggest going for second gear to get higher revs and then go up into third gear to go, of course, faster towards this second straight, which goes towards the, narrowest and probably main overtaking spot for many people, which is the right-hander hairpin. It's a little bit downhill, but you have to brake at the 100-meter board. Then, of course, you go down to second gear, stay close, and, well, try not to lose the car like Falcon just did, and then go into this double left-hander, which is very technical in depth, and you have to be very patient on the gas, because otherwise you'll go wide, and if you go wide, you go into the gravel, or even worse, the wall, which, as you may guess, it's not really that nice. Then here you brake, it's a very tight corner, so you go into second gear and try to stay as much as possible on the left, because the trajectory for the next right-hander has to be like shown here from Falcon. Then, after a nice little power slide, you go towards the last two corners, two right-handers, where you have to maybe lift just a little bit here to avoid going too wide, like Falcon almost did, and then patiently go onto the gas for the last corner to exit just on the limit and conclude. Hopefully a very nice lap time. This was a little bit of a scruffy lap really from Falcon, but still showed the track quite nicely, if I have to say. So, that being said, we have Lopter showing his fangs for the first time here with a 41.0. Still, of course, it's just practice, so times are not really too significant. So we have yet to see how fast people really are. But still, it's a nice indication of the pecking order we're gonna probably see in the race we have Maggio, Lobter, Falcon as the fastest. Then, surprisingly, we have Darts in 4th place, followed by Tits and Edriet. Then Jason Schultz, Killtech and Vipersonic are right there, and then Spartanex has the slowest one, but of course with less experience with this car, so it's quite understandable really. Also Tits setting up the fastest first sector for the time being, trying to chase for the lead time, which should be likely, like seeing of course as Maggio is actually answering with another purple sector, it's likely gonna be in the 39s when things get really fast. So in qualifying expect times to be either in the 40s or in the 39s, and if someone like Maggio likes to go crazy, maybe we may just see just slightly 38.9, which should be in my opinion the fastest possible time I can possibly think of. Now, seeing still the chat, I can hear, speaking of Super GT, if I'm not wrong, this model of the Miata Gran Turismo touring car is inspired by a GT300 Miata which had a rotary engine in it. Really cool to see if something like it raced here. I didn't really know about this thing about the Super GT Miata. I mean, I'm not really too, you know, knowledgeable about Super GT in the first place, but it's nice to know that there's some real life inspiration for this car. I just thought it was like, you know, a Miata with a glass spoiler, which was the main reason I actually chose this car for this championship. But that being said, yeah, what can you say really? What can you say? Everything is nice. Now that being said, let me just check something real quick. Yeah, just done. We have a little bit of a side-by-side action between, of course, Lobter and Adriet. And as they go towards turn 1, with Lobter setting the 3rd fastest time, I was just about to say, Tits actually answered and is in a 40.6 in 2nd place right behind Maggio. So I feel like although Maggio is fast, he may have some little competition around this track. Something I should also mention is that during the test we found out some interesting stuff, which is mainly related to the setups. As you may know, drivers don't really have an obligation to make their own setups, but usually having one makes you, you know, more fast and usually more competitive. And what we find out is that some setups, especially like the one that Darts used in Sebring, which is the one I use sometimes to just test stuff out, and Alex Maggio's setup, which was of course shared by him quite you know, nicely on the server, are actually quite impressive to see how much lap time you can gain just by having a little tweaks, especially on the tire pressures. And why do I say this? Because for some reason, like speaking for my own experience, of course, I was able to race like in the 42s or 41s with the stock setup, and then once you get into the actual setups like the Maggio's one or the Sebring one, I was actually able to lap in the 40s quite consistently. So, you know, it makes quite a difference to go from 42s or 41s to directly 40s or even 39s if you are good enough like Maggio and Tits. So, with that in mind, of course, this is expected to be quite a spicy race, which is quite I kind of hope for, really. I really hope to see some nice wheel-to-wheel action and to see people just going absolutely for it, searching out for blood in this amazing race. Now, if we go on board with the famous helmet cam, we may see how Lobter is actually tackling the corner. I think he went a little bit too wide there. I don't know if the lap time is valid, but considering he just stopped the car, I think it was not. So, stopped on track, back into the pit lane. We also have some other people in the pit lane. We also have Valiant, who just joined, so nice to see him here. And hopefully, we're gonna see people driving fast as hell. Also, Maggio just posted a 40.1, which is currently the fastest practice lap time we had. And actually, let's go on board with him with the helmet cam to see how he's tackling the corner. Falcon currently disconnected. Hopefully he'll come back soon. I mean, he has 30 minutes, so there's no real pressure or you know, urgency to do that. So as we wait for him, we watch as Maggio tackles this corner here in 2nd gear as intended, and then back into 3rd gear, staying actually as close as possible to the right hand side. And also Valiant also disconnected, not sure why. Let me just check in the background if something is happening on the server. Hopefully not. Looks like not. Everything is going smoothly on the background. So as Maggio now breaks into this right hand hairpin, I just seen some marks on the gravel, which shows that maybe someone missed this braking point and went a little bit too wide, which is quite suboptimal, of course. But then through this section, he lifts. He lifts quite a lot. Actually, he's in neutral gear, so not sure what he's doing. Maybe he's just cooling down the tires. Maybe he's just thinking about life. Maybe. Just maybe. but as he goes slowly crawling towards the left-hander, I wonder what is he gonna do. He's gonna actually go onto the gas, or yes he is. So back into first gear, maybe he was just cooling down tires. He now tries to go maybe on a fastest lap time. So let's go, I mean, let's stay on board with him and see, maybe from the helmet cam, how a professional actually does it. Maybe he was just cooling down the tires, that's also likelihood, but that's difficult to say really from my point of view. We don't really have tire temps from the commentary booth, we just have times, telemetry and what's not. And due to that, we can just assume what's gonna happen. Now, as we said before, the braking point is actually a little later than the bridge, which is where I usually brake, so a little braver than I am usually. Then here, a little wide, but carries the speed nicely through this left-hander. Then on the limit to the curb, and then of course we go left, then right, then straight, and we wait just before the dirt patch we see here. Then on the right-hander, you have to be very patient, both on the gas and both on the steering, and well, he wasn't really too patient and decides to eat about the lap and probably go into the pit lane as well. So, as everyone now is back to the pit lane, we go and see who else is driving right now. So Tits, getting of course some valuable info from this practice session. He looked quite strong in the test races and in the other practice sessions, and although he goes a little bit too wide on the last corner, I know that he's able to carry his speed to put off a nice lap time. Currently he's at 41.6, but I'm quite sure he's able to go even faster, and I'm pretty sure we have proof of that. I'm pretty sure if I go check the server, he posted a 39 point something quite earlier, so this is a guy to keep an eye on, because he knows how to be fast, he knows how to go wheel to wheel, and of course he also has one race victory under his belt, so he's a contender for this specific round. Then of course we got Lapter, who showed us how fast he can be in previous rounds, and I expect not less from him in this special round here. Currently, as for championship instead, we should mention that as Lapter gets a nice little drift going through this section, maybe he's just getting hit into the tires or just showing off, not sure. We should mention that currently, for the point systems and whatever happened in the last 4 rounds, Falcon is actually the point leader in this championship. Although this may change in this specific race, because the other guys who are fighting for him for the title, which I mean means really nothing because this is a full fan championship, are of course Tits, Maggio, Lobter, and I'm pretty sure someone else is in the chase, but I'm not sure who else, maybe Vipersonic. Not too sure, I haven't really checked the championship standings, and really we shouldn't really think about them too much, because this is all for fun of course, and we don't care about people having troublesome experience for no reason at all. So we are here just to race these cars, see them go fast, wheel to wheel and whatever, and due to that we can expect some nice little fights in the past races we're gonna have. I mean the future ones, but yeah, you get the point. That being said, is Valiant actually out? Yes he is. He's now trying to see if he can get some lap times in and maybe a nice little time on the leaderboard. Then we got Spartanex, still struggling of course to gain time, but still nice to see him here in the first place, so I'm gonna see how it goes, especially in the race, because this is gonna be quite a grueling one. 30 minutes around this track can be quite intense, I can tell you that. But then, as the picking order gets a little bit more clear, we can see a radius separation from people who surely use a setup or at least something, and then people who either don't or don't use it optimally. But that of course is just a theory, a game theory as they say. Now, as we see people in the pit lane maybe getting all the stuff ready, we take a little breath, because of course there's time. There's a lot of time left. And due to that, especially since it's just 25 minutes until the qualifying, we don't really have many things to talk about here in this, practice. It's just people driving around, getting stuff done, getting everything ready, So, as we see that, we can just ponder how this is gonna work. Actually, let me just search for the other cameras, because I'm gonna use probably the 4th camera because it seems the nicer one. But I don't know if the other ones are good enough to show other, action. The bad thing about this track, which is the only real shame, is the fact that for some reason it has actual side cameras, as you can see here, but I don't think they are too great to show the track action as, you know, we had in the past few rounds, because usually if you want like good overtaking action or good television action, you want to have like broader views to be able to see everyone on track battling each other. And sadly, many of the cameras on this specific track are a little bit too zoomed in. So for that reason, you can't really see too much of the action. Although I have to say, this camera may be a good one, I think, seeing how far away is it from the car. So maybe we're gonna use this one for the race and what's not. So I'm gonna just have a look at this one to see how everything is spanned out. Also, I think someone is in the gravel. Yep, I can see a puff of smoke, and it's I think number 10, so either Skilltech or someone else. Likely Skilltech, I just saw him go back into the pit lane, or Tiziano could also be Tits, not too sure. So as we see Adriat going into the hairpin, into the braking point, and that was a late braking, wasn't it? No, I'm not sure. Actually, I think it was nice on the 100-meter board. He is still trying to find pace, and as you can see, it's actually very close to Forever lap time. They are both in the 41.8, although Forever is in the 41.805, while he is in the 41.809. So less than a tenth of a second separates the two of them. And that means, of course, that in qualifying, and especially in the race, they are going to be quite close as well. The battle for the top 10 and for the points left in this championship is going to be quite grueling. And for that reason, for this exact reason, I expect some gruel fighting between all these drivers here. Now, as they go, of course, and they find more time, of course, the track also gets more and more grippy. We get more green, more, how can I say this? We get more rubber onto the racetrack, and for that reason, we get people who are gonna get easily faster and faster and faster. So although the fastest lap time currently is a 40.1, I expect the lap time to go even faster in the following minutes. For the same reason, we usually see people go drive faster in, you know, other race tracks and other race competitions as well, which is also called usually track evolution, which is something around here. Also, we had some kind of issue or something strange going on with the temperature, although I'm not too sure because I cannot see the temperature currently. Sometimes you get that popping up on the right hand side, but for the time being we don't have that, so we'll just have to wonder what it is exactly, and we'll find out, of course, once it pops out. As we see Falcon and Spartanex going on the main straight side by side, and we can see Falcon getting easily ahead of Spartanex into turn 1. We wonder between ourselves how this is gonna pan out. Also, Lopter, just noticed, he managed to go into second place with a 40.4, so just 3/10 away from Alex Maggio lap time. And yeah, everyone is just racing, everyone is just finding time, and everything is finding the tricky, twisty sections of this track more and more confusing as time goes by. 20 bloody minutes left to go. And to waste our time, as we see Falcon literally crashing into the pit lane, we go to Tits, and I don't know, we're just gonna want to look at him and maybe see the telemetry to see how he tackles the corner. Here you usually stay in second gear through this first corner, then you go up to third gear, and although you may want maybe to go down to the second gear, here it's actually more optimal to stay in third gear and then let the gas out on the exit to stay, of course, on speed, and of course brake for this corner here on the left hand side to go into second and use this entire technical section to just, you know, get the right trajectory and get the car turned in the right direction. You can see the rear of the car just stepping out a little bit out of Tits' control, which is something these cars tend to do, whilst Maggio gets a little bit faster. And as I say that, we got a new entry in the grid, which is number 13, Magna Leggero, who should be a friend of Thomas is Ready, who is yet to join. And I'm gonna take the occasion to show his livery because I think it's quite funny, because as you can see, he's for some reason Xbox centered, for God knows why, and he is sponsored by Tic Tac and Mountain Dew, and of course we got MasterChef here for whatever reason. So as we see many other cool stuff we got on this specific car, which sadly doesn't load the rear plate, which is something I just highly apologize for. We can just hope to see what our friend here, Magna, is gonna be able to do in this round, of course. Also Maggio is into the pit lane, so he's forever, so he states. We go maybe to Lopter to see if he's able to improve his current lap time of a 40.4. Meanwhile, Virus, here in the chat, hello Virus, says that a 41.2 is a very good lap time, and yeah, surely it is. But of course the lap times and the grid here is very competitive, so I expect people to go beyond our expectation quite easily. And as we wait to see who else is able to join, I expect maybe, I don't know, Thomas is ready or someone else, we take a deep breath, because 18 minutes and then we're gonna go to qualifying, which is gonna show us who is the fastest guy around the air. And yeah, I can tell the temperature of the track for some reason is 61 degrees, which is quite hot, if I gotta say. But I mean, it's just like it's a hot day here in Okayama. So yeah, I feel like maybe due to my mistake, for some reason, these may have ended up like Imola, where the track was hot as hell. So maybe, just maybe, people are gonna have to, you know, get the groove, find the grip and what's not on this track to find out how everything works in higher temperatures. I found last time around Imola, when I tried the track a little bit by myself, that higher temperature made stuff a little bit, you know, more drivable. Mainly for this reason that the main reason is because, of course, higher temperature, being that the tires get up temperature first and you get more grip. And for that reason, it's just like driving a Formula 1 car, which in my opinion is nice. But of course, not everyone finds that too nice. You maybe don't want to see your tires overheat too much. So for that exact reason, maybe people are struggling a little bit, or either than just struggling, they're just trying to find a way to mitigate the higher temperature with the tires to see how to drive and stay consistent throughout what's gonna probably likely gonna be the 30 minutes of racing that we're gonna have in race 1 and 2. And there we go. As I say that, Thomas is ready here in the pit lane with his teammate Magna, both ready to show what Scuderia Agile, or I mean, I think it's Magna is also in Scuderia, I hope so, to show what they are capable of course. Thomas is ready in the chat, of course, telling us that this is Oklahoma. Yep, of course, as we know, Okayama in USA, my favorite track in the world, is gonna be the main show for this race. Now, as states, trying once again to find the time, not able in the first sector, maybe able in the second. Let's go on board with him. He's chasing after Adrian, currently with a 41.0, so very fast lap time from him as well. Let's see, braking point. I think that was a little late. No, actually it was spot on, because he's able to take this hairpin quite nicely in second gear. Then up into third gear, and he actually takes this corner in third gear, which is something I didn't really think was possible or likely. A little bit of oversteer, but that's okay, because the car can handle that quite nicely. And then you go into the technical section here. Second gear, he goes a little bit too wide. Thomas disconnects currently, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna come back quite soon. And as we go into the right hand, we can see Tits on the gas, going now to the right hand side here as Adrian goes into the pit lane. And into the last corner, very tricky, very easy to get wrong, but thankfully Tits manages to get right. I don't know what kind of lap time this is, likely it's gonna be another 40 or either 41. Let's see, 40, 41.5, so yeah, not the fastest lap time, but still, he's likely just trying to get his consistency, sorted out. 15 minutes left, kind of 15 minutes left. And the picking order is still the same, as we see it's getting somewhere, I have to say. We got Alex, still of course in P1, then Lopter in P2, Tits P3, followed by Falcon in P4. Then we got Idrit in P5, then Darts in P6. 7th is Vipersonic, which is, I mean, I think is struggling a little bit. He expressed that, how can I say that? That setups were a little bit, you know, tricky to get right on Assetto Corsa, so he probably opted not to do setups, which may show him a lot on the back foot for this specific race here, because as I discussed before, setups are very important. So if we see Vipersonic struggling, we know the reason, But still, racing in the 41.5, very nice lap time. I just wonder if he's gonna be able to show a faster lap time than during the race, or either he's just running with his race fuel, which is of course another possibility here in practice. Then right behind him we got Forever, another very fast driver, followed by, of course, by Jason Short, who is of course from Oklahoma himself, at least I think so. So as this is his home track, or home race track, he's gonna try to do as best as he possibly can and hopefully finishing the points. Then right behind him we got Skilltech from the Coma Autosport and his other teammate, which is of course is Valiant in P11. Then we got Spartanex, still trying to find time, currently at 46.2. And then we got everyone else, which is of course Thomas and Magnalegero, still in the pit lane, waiting for, well, not sure what exactly. We go back to Maggio. As he goes through, I think this is the last sector, is it? No, this is the first sector, my bad. Let's see what kind of lap time he can put out. Sector 1 is gonna be up 23.6, just a tenth off his personal best. Then through the big ass hairpin, we go towards the second straight. And as he accelerates, and as Thomas is ready, gets, of course, out of the pit lane, I accidentally got the track map off, so I'm gonna put that back on to see a clearer picture of the track. We see Maggio braking and getting into the second hairpin. A little bit of a lockup, but that's to be expected with these cars, which are very slidey. And he goes through this technical sector. I'm not too sure if he goes into third or second gear. I think the first half is in second gear and then here in third gear. Or otherwise it's everything in third gear and I'm just stupid. And as we get a little bit of a jump scare from Vipersonic, we see Maggio getting a purple second sector and now trying his best to maybe improve and get a better lap time than 40.1. Let's see if he's gonna be able to do that, if he's gonna be able to break the 40s barrier, which is of course very likely, very possible to do. Let's see though. Through the last corner, on the limit of grip on the exit, very nice one. Now you just go onto the gas and pray that it's gonna be enough to beat your personal best. And the answer is yes it is, and it's the first 39.19 of the session. That is to be expected, and we expect people like him to go even faster in the next few moments. In the meanwhile, Tits, with 11 minutes left, disconnected, which I feel like could be likely due to the life spike we see before. Tits has expressed that he has some connection issues in the past few days, so due to that reason we may just see him struggle in the first part of this event. Hopefully he gets these things sorted out and he's gonna be able to join the event, because it would be quite a shame not to have him here, especially considering how much he's fighting for this championship and how high he is in the championship orders due to all the points he got in the past few races. Now Skilltech back into the fray, I think. Not sure where it is. Oh, there it is. So it disconnected for a little while and then he's back. Also you can see Darts going very wide on the last corner. Actually, let's see Darts, who climbed silently into P5 while he wasn't looking. And he's currently lapping in the 41.2, which is quite an impressive lap time, I gotta say. Let's get on board with him and see a lap time from him with 10 minutes left to go, of course. Here, left hand side goes a little bit too wide, but thankfully it doesn't touch the gravel on the exit, which is gonna absolutely kill your speed if you do. Then as Tits gets finally back into the service, so likely it's gonna be, it was just a temporary issues. We can see Darts going from second to third, and then onto the acceleration here. Meanwhile, Maggio still improving. Actually, he went 39.7 a little while ago, so yeah, he's still getting faster and faster as time goes on. We just wait to see how Darts is gonna take this. Oh, actually, sorry, Darts didn't quite really go into P5. It was that Tits got out of the server for a little time, so now that he's back, his lap time was re-put on the leaderboard, and now he is still in P3 for the time being with the current packing order, let's say. Let me just take a quick break, quick break actually, because of course it's just practice. I don't really need to go hard with the commentary or anything else. I can just relax a little bit, because of course the chaos is gonna go and come really much later, as Darts straight up parks up on the on the penultimate corner and goes back into the pit lane. So let's see, who can we look at? We have Lobster, we have Tits, we have Falcon, we have Forever, battling with our friend Spotnex here. Let's see if he actually has something to say about this. Hopefully he has. And he has, yes he has. He goes on the left hand side and into the braking point. He's gonna be brave enough. Yes he is. There's a lot of people getting out of the pit lane, so he's gonna have to be a little bit careful of the traffic, but thankfully he is. And Viper is actually very much aware of that, and with cold tires is not gonna put too much of pressure onto our Italian driver here, of course. Now, that being said, of course, we wait. We wait the remaining 8 minutes to see how this is gonna pan out for everyone else. Are we gonna see something? Are we gonna see surprises in this race, in this round? Likely yes. Likely we're gonna see people being where they are not expected to be, or just being, you know, fast as hell as usual. But that's just the story of MYASS, which has been, you know, the case since the round 1 and since the first races we had. And thus, as we wait for the clock to tick down to 0, we just wonder who's gonna win this one. Likely we have a very likely name on the top of the leaderboard, but you know, everything is not decided yet. And if it's not the battle of OP1, then it's the battle of OP2, which gets quite interesting, especially considering that Lobster, Tates, Falcon, Adriat and Dots are all on the same page in terms of pace. And I wouldn't really exclude anyone else at the same time. I can guarantee you, especially on this track, that overtaking can be quite tricky if the people around you are fast enough. So likely we're gonna see some wheel banging, door banging, banging in general, and just ass banging as time goes on, of course. In all of this, let's actually have a look at Viper Sonic, who he's actually, I think, doing his fastest lap time, or at least trying to get fast lap time in. So let's stay on board with him to see how it does. Here nicely on the limit of the curb, then left, right, and then straight into the braking point here. Down to second gear to stop the car, and then easily onto the gas quite as soon as possible. To then try and go into third gear, close the trajectory as much as possible, and then of course chase and wait for the braking point. I think it was wiggling a little bit to get some heat into the tires. Maybe tires are a little cold, which is likely considering that it's the second lap out of the pit lane, and tires take quite a while to get up to temperature, especially around this track and especially with this kind of cars. But then through the technical section, here he brakes, he goes onto the left, then goes onto the gas here on the exit. We're gonna see on the last sector if he's able to make the mechanical grip of the car work well and as expected for him. Into this right hander here, down onto the gas, and now he goes towards the right hander, which is gonna be the one place he wanna be faster as possible. Into the last corner, easily onto the limit of the exit of the corner, and then on the main straight is gonna be an improvement. Hard to say for now. The answer is yes, but not enough to conquer P6 currently held by Dots. So still a lot of time to be found by, of course, Viper. But still 4 minutes, actually 5 minutes let's say, till the start of qualifying. So, lads in the comments, of course, who are watching this race in this lonely Saturday night, who is gonna be the pole sitter? Who's gonna win this race? Who's gonna what are your prediction for drivers in this race? That's all I'm asking, and that's all I'm wondering, really. So I'm gonna wait, of course, to see what you have to say about this round before deciding for myself. Or otherwise, I'll just, you know, decide by myself. I'll say nothing. I'll say nothing and let the chaos talk by itself. See the war rage on between these Miatas to see who's the fastest, who's the craziest, and of course who is, you know, just the drivest, the Miatest of them all. Pecking order still unchanged. Manually Jiro still hasn't set a lap time, which is quite surprising, I gotta say. I was expecting him maybe to gain or try to get a little bit of experience before the start of qualifying, but looks like he wants to go blind into qualifying, which is either a power move or just underestimating the level of the grid we currently have. Also, we can see as Vipersonic is getting a little bit of practice for wheel to wheel as he tries to chase after Forever to see how battles works, but yeah, Forever decides to dip out as Vipersonics decides to, well, dip out in another way and straight up disconnect from the server. Same for Forever, so not sure why. Let me just check in the background if I can see why, especially since it's, you know, there's little time left since the beginning of the qualifying, so I wonder if there's like a problem between the two or something technical. Not too sure. We'll find out soon. Hopefully they'll come back, you know, in time for qualifying. And as I say that, we can see here there's a dive bomb from Alex Maggio into the hairpin, probably a sign of what's to come in the race. And as Maggio now tries, I mean, it's not really improving, especially after that maneuver, we're gonna restart the session for time issues in 1 minute. So that's the message from the race direction, so that explains why we got that mad lad out of the session. So I guess we're gonna have likely either a little delay in qualifying, which is something that may happen, or either we're gonna just have some little change in setups for many people, for many other people. Hopefully they remind themselves to change setups to get everything sorted out before going into qualifying, so things may get a little bit more chaotic before the start of the race. So if of course you're gonna see me getting disconnected in a few minutes, you're gonna know why quite easily. Otherwise, we're gonna just have to wait and see what happens, of course. In the meanwhile, 1 minute and a half left. And the grid is quite large, 14 drivers. Quite more than expected, really, especially considering that last time around we had like just 10 drivers for the end runs, which was a little sad, really, but still provide for a nice, intense race, really, for the entire hour and a half it lasted. So, in 20 seconds, we're gonna have the server restarted, as our host just said. Actually, 5 seconds, I think. And I think we're gonna see everyone just, yeah. Actually, I think he just restarted directly like this. And as I try to stay in the car and see everyone on the grid, yeah, practice is on the way. Everyone is in the pit lane for the time being. Everyone is leaving for the time being, so technical issues for the time being. Let me just check in the background if everything is alright. I think it is, though. So yeah, we're gonna just have to hope that everything is gonna be alrighty right, as we say. Practice restarted, so we're just gonna wait and see what happens, or either I'm just gonna drop and see in the background how's the situation and how are people handling this whole thing here. But I'm sure with Forever in the chat everything is alrighty, so no big issues. We wait a little bit, likely we're gonna skip, of course, practice. And yeah, other people are rejoining, so yeah, as soon as we get back to 14 drivers onto the grid, we're likely gonna go straight to qualifying, which is what we expect to see, of course, from this race. As Partonex instead decides not to connect and disconnect from the race, and hopefully he'll reconnect before the start of qualifying, otherwise this is gonna be a little bit underwhelming for everyone. Let me just have a look still in the background, but everything seems quite fine from my point of view. Yep, Spartanex is back, and back with 14 drivers. I think the most exciting part of this whole thing can maybe get underway. I'm gonna actually ask our friend. Actually, let me ask on the server, because I feel like we can. I can ask, actually have the server access. So let me just have a little question. I'm gonna just ask like this, which is the most stupid way I have. of course. And as we wait, as we have other people getting into the chat asking for violence, which of course we're gonna get quite soon, we wait of course for the start of qualifying, as other people are trying to get a little practice underway before the start of everything else. Now, that being said, we had a little bit of technical issues, so maybe a little bit of delay before the start of qualifying, which is sad. But thankfully, due to this, we can see people just, trying to kill each other on track, which is of course why we are here in the first place. Because otherwise, what would you do on a Saturday night, if not, of course, watch MYASS? You sad, lonely bastard. That being said, we can see Darts maybe trying to do something here. No, he's just gonna try and stay calm and maybe rear-end our friend Tits into the hairpin, which is not what's gonna happen. He's gonna stay nicely and tightly on his ass on the next technical session, as both of them decide not to go tightly and nicely into the next section. So practice of course still running around. I'm gonna ask real quick some updates from Forever in the background. Just gonna ask real quick how's the situation, if we're gonna go to quali or if we have all the stuff to, get sorted out. Just to be sure, of course, because we want this to be the worst experience possible for everyone else, and to do that, of course, we need to see just how bad we can get this whole session to be for everyone. Which means, of course, this is calculated catastrophe. And they tell me that it's not yet time for qualifying, and I wonder why. Let me just see. Thomas, he's forgot about his lunch, actually not lunch, the other thing, his dinner, and thus he was taken away, so we are waiting for Thomas to eat before the start of qualifying. So, something quite unheard of course, but the whole session has been delayed due to dinner, which is something I was not expecting to say. But they're telling me that he's speedrunning his dinner and he should be here enough in time for qualifying. So, big ass delay for these events, for which we of course apologize. But at least look at the bright side. We got people running around. We got a little bit of a boring commentary to do because, what else can I say really? It's practice. I don't really have anything significant to say. So what the fuck I'm gonna do? I don't know. I'm gonna draw a cat. You know what? Let's actually draw a cat. I'm gonna go with, like the cheeks. Then you go with the eyes like this. Then you go with the mouth, the nose, which I mean it's not like this in a cat, but who cares? Then you go with the mouth, and this is not a cat, it's just a funny face I just wanted to draw, so hopefully you enjoyed that as much as I did. Now, as Falcon drifts through the sector number 3, trying to impose his dominance on this track, we wait to see who's the fastest. Tits currently 40.6, Darts 41.3. Falcon, I think he got the lap time invalidated, although I'm not too sure. We're gonna find out exactly now. The answer is yes, it was. And other people just getting, everything sorted out. We got also Iron Alex. Actually, was he inside the server? Skill Tech, Iron Alex? I think, yeah, I think they were. I just, it's quite easy to get confused, of course, by both Kurma's Autosport, because Skill Tech has the number 475 on the side, of course, but then you got Iron Alex, which is the 499, which has not to be confused, of course, with Valiant GB, who instead has the number 49. Yes, of course, Virus. Of course I wanted to use that to draw whatever the fuck I want while I can. And I'm gonna do that again, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna take... I mean, we got 38 minutes. We got the qualifying start delayed because of dinner, once again. So I'm gonna use this time to just draw whatever the hell I want. So once again, let's just draw a stickman, like this. There we go. This is gonna be Bob, and he's gonna look at the race excited on the side. Actually, let's give him a chair, I don't know. Let's give him a little ass chair here. Let me just try and draw it real quick. There you go. This is the worst chair you've ever seen in your life. Yeah, and I don't know what else can I give him. Oh yeah, let's give him maybe a photo camera like this, so he can take photos of this event. Yeah, there we go. I'm not sure if it looks like a camera, but it should be exciting enough. And as he excitedly watches for Falcon to go around the track, taking photos, technical photos of the car to see where the technical depth lies around the Gulf-livered Miata of Falcon as he goes P2. We wait once again for the start of qualifying and for the end of our friend Thomas's ready dinner, who is taking, actually let me just give him a table, there we go, he's taking dinner, so he has of course here his nice little table with 4 legs, he has a pizza, I think so, likely like this, he has fork and knife, maybe some water, I'm gonna draw real badly, and he is enjoying his nice little dinner. As we wait, of course, for the start of this whole thing. Meanwhile, they're asking me to draw Asgo and his stupid ass face. I'm not sure if I can. I mean, it's very hard to draw that face, but you know what? I'm gonna try. Let me just search on the phone if I can find Asgo. So let's see that picture. Okay, they're sending my stuff in the meanwhile. So let's go and search for Asgore meme. There we go. Finally, the alcohol is kicking in. So let's try and draw it. It's gonna be difficult as hell, but I'm gonna try. So it's gonna be like this, and of course like this. Then there's this. Then he has like the 2 nostrils here. Then there's like this. Oh man, the eyes are gonna be so difficult to make. So bloody difficult. Then we got like this. Okay, then we go. Okay, like this. I mean, this should be like the mustache, so it goes like around here and then up to here, kinda. I mean, this is bad. This is not looking as good as I intended, but I mean, it's okay. Then we should go like here and then here. I mean, this is not looking likely like him at all, but that's okay. Then as for the eyes, it should be like, you know, this. Then we go like this, kinda. Should be like this. I mean, it's a little bit more thick here. This is not looking nicely at all, but I'm gonna take it. It's fun enough. And hopefully make some nice content while we wait for the start of this whole thing. Like, hop on the stream. What the fuck are they doing? Technical analysis? Well, you fucking wish they did. Instead, here we are like this. As other people are actually taking this seriously, and I can see the light on his car. So maybe he's back. Maybe, just maybe. There we go. And then I should like draw like the rest of his face, which should be like this, maybe. This is so bad. This is so fucking bad. What I'm doing, I'm drawing Asgo. I mean, I'm trying to draw Asgo, but it's let's go back to this. Actually, I see that. Why this is stupid as thing. Oh my god, this is yeah, this is the kind of stuff you can expect from MYASS. We got a picture of our friend here. Thomas is ready, getting his dinner ready, as is Thomas, of course, and the worst drawn picture of Asgore you've ever seen. Actually, I know why this doesn't look right, because of course he's missing the top lower end, of course, of his bed. Now it looks even fucking worse and possibly bald. So yeah, that being said, let's remove Asgore from the stream and get back into business for this practice event. So hopefully this was some enjoyable bit from your point of view. Hopefully, as we wait and buy time, of course, for the start of qualifying. We wait. We take some breath, we take some laugh. We drive in our car right after a beer, and that bum is surely shaped like a deer. But do you know why? You know, you already know the rest. I'm not gonna say anything else. You already know. So, Tits currently in 40.2. Then we got Maggio in 40.4. Then Falcon 40.9. Then Lobter, Darts, and Viper in the 41s. Actually, Viper in the 42.1. And then everyone else in the 42s, 44s, and then no times at all for the time being. I mean, this is like the practice 2 session, which should have not happened. And as Tits decides to stop in the middle of the track and go back into the pit lane, we go back to Thomas, because he is not clearly ready for the start of this event. So, what can I say really while we wait? Let's go and have a look at Lopta from on board to see how it thrives. We're ready for qualifying, they say. So, finally, the long-ass wait is over, and as we had like a 10 or some 10-ish minute delay, we can now finally go for the qualifying to see how everything is gonna pan out and how the starting grid for race 1 is gonna, of course, be. And as for B, I mean C. BBC or CBC. As we see Spartanex getting... Where is he going? Wait a minute, where is Spartanex? Where did he go? I think he got a little bit lost. That's okay though. That's of course alrighty. And we can see, yeah, Thomas is indeed ready. And he's parking the car as well. So as maybe we are just waiting for some people to get into the last corner, maybe finish their own lap time, we are ready to go for qualifying. Or either, not for qualifying, but for answer. As Viper finally clinches into P5 with a 41.2 and then decides to lock up the brakes to go into the pit lane. Then of course there's Jason Short locked in, trying to see if he can go faster than P8, currently not, but still a very nice lap time, and then crashing into the rear end of Vipersonic. All the while we wait for, you know, Vipersonic, we wait for number 6 which he starts, and of course Lopter as well behind him. And the last person who should go towards the finish line, as Lopter decides to have a nice little cinematic spin, is Iron Alex, who, towards the last corner, decides that is now time to go and finish his own lap time to start, of course, qualifying. And thus, qualifying is underway. Thankfully. I was gonna say thank God, but I think like that was a little bit too exaggerated. So, Lopter starting strongly to get into the gas to start and see what he can do. Then I can see Forever also getting out of the pit lane, so he starts, so everyone really is getting out of the pit lane. The first person out of the pit lane though is Valiant GB, trying his absolute best now to see what kind of lap time he can pull out to get maybe some points in this special round. And as I say that, he crashes into the wall in turn 1. I'm not really sure how he has even done that. So, as people are fighting with the coldness in their hearts and the tires, of course, we go towards the first sector. You can see from the minimap how chaotic this is. I think also another person whose span was Vipersonic. So yeah, there's a big ass traffic jam here in Oklahoma, and we get ready for what's gonna be likely a very exciting qualifying session. And if it's not gonna be exciting, of course it's gonna be boring and sleepy as hell, but hopefully that's not gonna be the case. That being said, we go and see how Lopter is gonna start this lap time, followed by Darts, and I'm not sure who's behind. We got Darts, then we got, I think that's Tits right behind. Let me just have a look if it is. Yes, it is. And then Forever right behind. So we're gonna stay, of course, with Lopter just to see how his first lap time is gonna pan out, and likely we're gonna have a look at him from the onboard camera, not the actually, you know what? Let's go with the helmet cam, which is cool as hell. He, of course, goes through the first sector, which is not because this is the last sector. I was just lying to you quite easily. And then, as he gets the car straightened up for the last 2 corners, he gets ready to start his flying lap around here. Hopefully we'll get no traffic. There's number 8, which is of course Vipersonic, who just exited turn 1, but there's enough of a gap for him to go full flat out and not to worry about any traffic. So, into turn 1, how is he gonna brake? Bravely, of course. And as he gets the grip with the tires, which are a little cold of course yet, he now drives and gets into this left-hander here, trying to stay as much on the grip on the limit as possible. Then nice little exit on the curb. He touches nothing really off the left-hand side the curb, and then decides to brake nicely on the dirt patch on the left-hand side to go into this corner a little bit too sideways though. I'm pretty sure that lost him quite a lot of time. but through this next section he can gain that back, and of course there's 15 minutes, actually 12 minutes, so yet a lot of time left to go for him to find some time, so it's not the end of the world. So as he breaks a little bit later, I think, than the 100-meter board, he gets inside this corner quite nicely. He doesn't step out of the corner with his ass lightly, and then now let's get towards this most technical section. He manages to avoid getting onto the gravel, which is gonna kill his run. He goes a little bit too wide here, and this is gonna kill his run a little bit more, but as I said before, that's alright because he has yet more time left to go. And into the last section, the most technical one, car of course crying out, trying to find some grip somewhere, which is yet not here. And as he goes towards the last two corners, how brave is he gonna be? Into the penultimate corner, I think he lifted a little bit, which is something you kinda have to do to avoid, you know, bloody dying. And then into the last corner, easily onto the gas, nicely into the track limits. And let's see what is the benchmark for this qualifying, at least for Lopter. Lopter currently sets out a 40.8, a nice, of course, benchmark. Then that's 42, then Tits 40.5. Right behind him, I think we have the number 14, which is Forever, who ends up in P3 currently. Then P7 is Thomas, who manages to get into P5. Then, of course, we got Jason Short, who climbs up into P5 in all of these. Then we got Falcon. Let's see what kind of lap time he can put out. 42.5, nothing too interesting at the moment. Then Valiant closing the lap time right behind. He climbs up to no place because the lap time is not valid. Then we got Spartanex climbing to P8, but lap time not valid once again. And I think right behind him it was Magna Leggero, who managed to go with a 45.3 before going into the pit lane. And then right behind him, Adred with a 46.8. And this was the first match of qualifying. Also, I think we got a new driver in the session. I'm not sure who it is, actually. Let me check real quick. Everyone else: Thomas, Spartanex, Valiant, Iron Alex, Viper, Alex, Kiltech. I think maybe it was just the Kurmas Autosport who were likely driving around while I was not looking. So Iron Alex now finishing his lap time, actually, wasn't really looking at him, and Alex Maggio right behind him also finishing his lap time and going a little bit too wide on the last corner. Let's see what they can do. So Iron Alex 44.2, good enough for P7. Then Alex Maggio decides to whip a 40.1, which is currently the pole time for the time being. Then Viper Sonic right behind, P4 with a 41.6. Then right behind we got, I'm not too sure who it was now, P12, so it was Kiltech with a 2 minute 52, which is of course not good enough. Lopter though finishes his second lap time and it's a 40.3, so good enough for P2. Then right behind him, Darts finishes his lap time, but there's no improvement. Instead, Tits finishes his lap, but it's not an improvement either. P5 Forever decides to close his lap, but no improvement either here. Thomas is ready. Is it gonna be a ready lap time? I think it's not, because it was not counted. Then Jason Short right behind him goes into P7. Then Falcon closes the lap and goes P2 with a 40.3. Then right behind we got Valiant, now maybe setting a valid lap time. Let's see what it is. Yes, it is, because of P9, 42.1. Then right behind we got Spartanex trying to find a good lap time here. He goes through the last part and 45.7 is good enough for P12. Then right ahead, behind of him, there's Adrian, 42.0, and as he struggles to stay inside the P10 positions. Then we go right behind, because we got Magna Leggero closing his lap time, or I think it's a valid lap time, I cannot see the delta, of course, right behind. And it doesn't seem to launch, especially that as it touches, of course, some grass on the exit of the last corner. But let's see if it's valid enough, and currently I think it's not, because it's still a 45.3. Then we go to Iron Alex right behind, trying to get some speed in and trying to get a valid lap time in, or actually a better one. Last time was a 44.2 and it's not an improvement. Then we get Alex Maggio right behind, not improving in the second sector. Let's see if it's an improvement. It's not. Right behind him we also get Viper Sonic, who does not improve, but we got instead Falcon actually improving. Let's stay with him for the time being, as other drivers get through the last corner and of course close their lap. Currently the other person who's gonna close his lap is of course Darts, followed closely by Tits, so I expect them to get likely an improvement. Darts goes to P6 and Tits decides to go into P1 with a 40.03. Then we follow Falcon through this last corner. Is the second sector good enough to get him, of course, higher than P3? We're gonna have to hope and see, as of course we get an improvement from Jason Short, and Falcon decides to close the lap, and it's not an improvement, sadly, for him. Then we go to Valiant, right behind, trying to get maybe an improvement into this section here, and it is, because it goes up into P8. Then number 4, Lopter. Let's see if it improves this lap. It was a 40.3, it was not an improvement this time around. Then Spartanex right behind, 45.7, the time to beat for him, and it's not an improvement either. Then we go to Adriat, of course, trying to get a better time than 42.0. It doesn't look like an improvement, and it's not an improvement, it's actually a 51.5, so surely something has gone wrong during the lap time. Then we go to Iron Alex, next car to cross the finish line, with 6 minutes of course left to go, so of course still a lot of time left to see who is going to be able to pull out, I'm going to say, the fastest lap time, although with the phrase pulling out, something else may come to mind. And as Iron Alex closes the lap time, and closes the lap going towards the end, as we see also Vipersonic exiting the last corner behind, it's a 44.8, and Vipersonic right behind closes with a 40 point something, 40.9, so a little bit of an improvement. Then right behind we got Skilltech closing its lap time, and not big improvement. Then we got Alex Maggio, who doesn't seem to be improving, but we have to see. Yeah, it was not an improvement, but I feel like he was just getting warmed up. Then Darts improves and goes up to P5 with a 40.9. Then we go to Forever, who actually, I think, decides to abort, so we go instead to Thomas is Ready, who is yet to set a lap time, and I think this is the right time to set one, because it does, and it goes up to P5. Then right behind him, Jason Short does not improve, but Falcon instead does, and it's a 40.003, very close margins for P1 in this specific qualifying session. Then we go to Magna Leggero, currently 45.3, P14 is position, and it does not improve. Then we go to Lopter right behind him, who decides not to improve this time around. Then Tits starting his lap time, so it's not of course his current fast attempt. Right behind him, Spartanex still struggling to find pace, but right behind him we got of course Adriat, right out of the top 10, but trying to get some lap time in, and he does improve up to P8 with a 41.3. These lap times, this grid is so competitive for the time being. We now move to Valiant into the last sector to see if he can actually find some time and improve. Last corner, staying on the limit of grip, staying inside the track limits likely, yes he does. Let's now hope and pray to see what kind of improvement he can pull out, although I'm not sure if it's on a fast lap at the time. For the time being, he is not, so we go back into 7th place Vipersonic, and right ahead we got another Coma out spot. I'm not sure for the Coma, but Vipersonic seems to be improving, he does, up to P6, right ahead of Darts. Then we go to Skilltech, currently in P12, closing his lap time is a green sector in 1 and sector 2, improves, but it does not goes up to P11, he stays in P12. Then Darts right behind, it seems not to be improving, and I think it's gonna not improve, it's gonna be 41 point something, yeah, 41.1, so no improvement. Then we go to Falcon, followed right behind closely by Jason Short. Let's see if he can improve. It doesn't seem like, because he has yellow sector 1 and sector 2, so likely it is gonna stay currently in, you know, pole position, which is not a bad position. Although he improves in the last sector, it's not enough to change the lap time. Then we go back to Lopter, currently chased also by Magna Leggero right behind. Although I cannot see him, yeah, I think he's starting his lap time, so he lifted off a little bit to start the lap. But Lopter doesn't seem to be able to improve. Then we go to Tits, who does not improve sector 1, but does improve sector 2, and maybe, just maybe, he's able to improve sector 3. Let's see if he can do something. He does, but not enough to improve his lap time. Then we go to P8 for Adriat, trying again to improve, but not enough to improve his lap time. Then P3, Alex Maggio, still struggling, but maybe just starting his lap. Let's see if it's an improvement. No, it's not. He's starting his lap time right now. Then we go to Spartanex, still struggling, and he does not look an improvement for me. Now, 3 minutes left. We have a clear view of who the protagonists of this qualifying, an intense one, are. So we're gonna go, of course, to the first one on the grid, let's say of the top 3. Tits is the one ahead, I think so. Let me see. Tits is ahead, then there's Lopter. Lopter is actually the one mostly ahead of this group, so let's stay with him for the time being as we wait maybe for other people. Thomas is ready actually. Let's have a look at him as he goes wide sadly for the last corner, so I'm not sure if it's gonna improve his current 40.5, but if he is, that's gonna be quite good, but sadly it's not. So let's go with Lopter as we go with him towards the last sector, the last technical sector. He tries to get some rotation and does so quite nicely. And now through the double right-hander, actually triple, considering also the last corner, He stays nice and tidy on the inside of the corner, then down with the gas into third gear. It's an improvement in the second sector. Now this third sector may be decisive for him to get into the top 3 or even the top 2 or even the top 1 if he's good enough. But he's understeering through the last corner, but good enough yet to stay inside the track limits. And let's see if he can improve and get maybe a pole position. I'm not too sure yet, and it's not looking like an improvement. Then right after him, there's of course Alex Maggio. Sorry, it is getting into the start-finish straight, and this is gonna be an improvement. Sadly, not. Then last corner, Alex Maggio not able to improve in this lap, so maybe, just maybe, he's getting things ready for what's gonna be his whiplash lap for this last part of qualifying. Falcon instead decides to stay in the pit lane for the time being, either waiting for the right time to strike or either just knowingly knowing the fact that he may not be able to improve his lap time. So, staying in the pit lane as cold as possible, he's gonna be enough to see who's gonna be able to conclude the pole position lap time. Lopter decides to pull away and maybe getting another lap time ready. Then we go to Iron Alex, finishing his lap time. Now, let's see if he can actually improve. I think it is, but it's not enough to improve his position. Then we go to Valiant, who does not improve. Then right behind him we got Viper Sonic, not an improvement either. Then we got to Thomas is ready right behind, not an improvement either. Then we got to Darts. Is he gonna be able to improve his position from P6 to P something? Sadly not. Then we move to Jason Short, alone in these last 2 corners. Is it gonna be enough? I can see a yellow flag. I think it's Skilltech who has just spun, so sad for him. But we go back to Jason Short, of course, to see if his spaghetti-powered car can actually get a better lap time. Can look so, because he has a nice second sector, and he does improve, but not enough to improve his position. So, we move instead to Tits, into the last 2 corners. It's not an improvement, maybe he's just getting his last shot ready, let's say, for this qualifying. Right behind him, we have, I think, Forever in P11, trying to get some nice lap times in. But then, even right behind them, we have Adriat, still trying to find time, as we also have Alex Maggio, improving a little bit, but still I'm not sure if it's gonna be enough to get an improvement. Let's see, this is a very fine margin, of course, for P1, and it is enough, hell of a lot, because the last sector is enough to send a 39.7 onto the leaderboards, which is very likely gonna be enough for what he's aiming for. Now we wait, of course, for the drivers. Tits decides not to try and improve, because he probably knows that the 39.7 is quite difficult to beat, of course. And as we wait for the end of qualifying, we move to Iron Alex, now trying to finish his lap time. Is Iron Alex gonna be able to improve his lap time? Hard to tell from here, but sadly he is not. Then we go to Valiant GB right behind. Is he gonna improve? Likely not. Thomas is ready, yet pushing. Can he do it? Sadly not either. And then we go to P6 Darts, trying to improve either, but seems not to be able. As the clocks hit 0, we see other people, decide not to take T1 in sign of respect for the people who met the wall that it's Alex Maggio's lap time. And as we see Jason Short also trying to improve in this last part of qualifying. Can he do something? Can he find some good lap time? Let's have a look. And sadly, he stays in P9. We then move to Skilltech. Skilltech doing his absolute best job. And as he goes into this last part, we can see him trying to get a good lap time. We also see Forever. I actually kind of forgot about him. As we see, I think that was Adriat going wide in the last corner. Forever is able to get into the P10 just about. Then Adriat clearly not improving after a mistake on the last corner. We got the Skilltech. Maybe he can improve. Sadly, he cannot. Then we got, of course, Magna Leggero in P14, trying to find some lap time. And let's see how the qualifying ends, which is, of course, with him. And as he goes into the last part of the track, he does not improve. So, currently, Alex Maggio, Paul Sita, then Falcon, Tits, and Lopter, and Thomas conclude the top 5. Then we got, of course, everyone else, but we know how fierce fighting can be in this championship. And that's, of course, what we are waiting for this specific championship and this specific race. Let's now take all together a quick break, a quick breath, and wait for the start of race 1. Well, of course, I have a little bit of a look to see if people are riding stuff. There's, of course, the the disappointment from Virus, who was maybe expecting Falcon to be able to take P1, but the mighty lap time from Maggio denied him of that. Still, P2 a very nice place to start the race, and of course 30 minutes can be quite long, so either this is gonna be a cakewalk for Maggio, able to maybe just run away with it and never to be seen again, or other likely ending we can see is Falcon able to stay ahead of Maggio and then having a nice little wheel-to-wheel battle with him for the entirety of the race. As we wait, of course, for the start of the race, as we see Thomas getting his tires ready for, well, really nothing, because he's not taking any qualifying laps. He and Manuel Leggero are the two odd drivers on the track. Also, there's Vipersonic also signed on the track. We finally finished qualifying and have a look at the starting grid. We got Alex Maggio starting from pole position, followed by Falcon in P2, Tits in P3, Lobter in P4 and P5, Paul Thomas is ready. Then we go P6 with Darts, followed by P7 Vipersonics, Adrian starting in P8 and then Jason Short in P9, followed by Forever.exe, ending the top 10 with this position. Then of course we got P11 Valiant GB, then Skilltech right behind him and Iron Alex right behind him as well. Of course doing a nice little Kurma Autosport trio. Then Manuel Leggero, the debut race for him, ends up in P14 at the end of qualifying, and then Spartanex for company right behind him in P15. Then of course there's me, but that's because I am the safety car, so I'm not gonna, you know, do anything too interesting in this race while being here. That being said, everyone is ready. Viper Italian, no, that's just a mistake from Assetto Corsa and how we set stuff up. Viper, of course, is Polish, but for some reason, here in Assetto Corsa, we can see him as Italian. So, yeah, the Italian Vipersonic is here and is ready to show us how it's done in this very struggling race that is gonna be this Japanese ordeal from Oklahoma. 10 seconds left to go since the start of the forming of the grid, and then hell is gonna let loose. And here we are on the grid as I go back into the pit lane, because once again I am not here to, you know, do stuff. I cannot see Maggio. For some reason he's shown as P3, but of course he's not in P3. I'm gonna use, of course, a different camera for the start of the race. Likely I've seen this one, which seems to be nice enough. Then I'm gonna try and get back into a nicer one later on. But as you can see, the grid is ready, everyone is ready, Thomas is ready, and as we wait for the start of the race, we can see Oklahoma Grand Prix here in Japan, or Japan as we say here in Italy. 30 meters of elevation, 30 minutes of racing, 3.6 kilometers, 14 minutes left to go till lights go out, and as everyone starts to rev their engines, the 4 red lights go on, and the race here in Oklahoma is go! Good start by everyone. I can see Forever right behind having a very nice start, but as we race towards turn 1, who's gonna be ahead? Who's gonna have the best start of them all? Seems like that Falcon is able to take P1 from the might of Maggio, and so is Tits. So there's a nice surprise from the starting positions as Falcon, Tits and Alex Maggio fight for P1 all together. Let's get into another better camera, and we can see as Falcon leads the race, there's right behind him, there's of course Tits, then of course there's Alex Maggio, then Lobter. I can see also Vipersonic getting a nice little start, and as Maggio tries his absolute best to get into P1, Tits has a blinder, and by going into the inside manages to get into P1. There's chaos all behind, of course, but as these two guys go, of course, wheel to wheel towards the hairpin, we can see a 3-wide moment here between these three, which ends quite badly with contact, but thankfully nothing bad done. And as everyone goes towards the breaking point, we can see Maggio trying to break as out as possible. Then Lobter, oh my god, there's contact. I'm not sure if Tits is around. Yeah, Tits is around. There's a big contact between everyone. There's absolute chaos, and Tits has died. completely killed by, I think that was either Alex or actually Falcon. I think Falcon actually got that into position. So now Alex matches back into P1, then Thomas is ready, P2, forever, somewhat into P3 after one incredible race start, Adrian into P4, P5 for Falcon, then Darts into P6, Viper, P7, Valiant into P8, then Skilltech, Spartanex complete the top 10. Let's go back to, of course, Alex Maggio as he now tries to run away from the other drivers and tries to set his pace as Thomas is ready, of course. He's gonna have quite a task in his hand to try and beat the mighty lap times from Alex Maggio. Now everyone goes through the last corner, a little bit sliding of course, but that's okay. And as we wait for turn 1, as the first lap is gone and dusted with drama, we can see Thomas now trying to chase after the leader, which is gonna be, of course, very difficult. We can see also Forever now under pressure from Adrian. Let's go on board with him for the time being, because he seems to be quite the menace. And we keep an eye on Tits, who actually goes into the pit lane. I wonder, did Tits get a drive-through? I started to wonder that maybe he may have jumped the start, which may be the reason he was so nicely ahead at the start of this first lap. So, drama, of course, for Tits, but the race is not over, because here in MYASS, nothing is over until it is. So, as you can see, we also have Falcon getting some pressure onto Adrian. We have to see from his side, as the top 5 are very close together on term of lap time and of course team of distance. And as Falcon has maybe a little look but decides not to, you know, outbreaks himself, which is a wise choice if I gotta say, we go towards this left-hander here and we stay maybe on board with Falcon through this section to see if he's able to maybe find a place to overtake our friend Adrian. What a shakedown in these first 2 laps, and what a dramatic situation. Now, let's see how this is gonna develop, as Falcon maybe has a look down the inside of Adrian, which of course cannot work. It's very difficult to overtake cleanly around here. You have to get your hands dirty, of course, but that's also the beauty of MYASS. Dirty racing, just like it. And as we can see, as we get into the last corner, Falcon seems to have a nice exit, but he doesn't have to go too wide, and he goes a little bit too wide, of course. But that's okay. Also, you can see Thomas, he's just a second behind the leader, so not really able to gain or dent the lead of the race. And as we go into this telecamera, we can see, of course, Falcon trying to go down the inside of Adrian, and I think it's gonna be able to get the maneuver done, although Adrian decides to fight back down the inside. Falcon is gonna try and keep it around the outside. He's gonna have the exit. I think he is, and now he's up into P4. I also agree that I think that Falcon probably is at fault for that crash, but that's alright. I mean, kinda. I mean, I'm sure he didn't do that on purpose, but of course, I cannot really do anything from this point of view. Also, I can see Viper Sonic taking the occasion to overtake Adrian, and as he is very opportunistic, he gets down the inside of Adrian, and now towards the hairpin is gonna be able to outbreak him and get nicely maneuvered done before the next technical section. I think he is. In the meanwhile, Tits managed to overtake Iron Alex, and now he has 9 seconds to try and set his lap time. As what a nice tank slapper from Viper Sonic, who manages to get the control of the car under his ass and now chase after his rival Falcon. Now, meanwhile, Alex Maggio still leading the race, Thomas right behind, nicely keeping up with him. I mean, of course, he's losing a little bit of time, but still, 1 second, 0.2 is not too much. And as, of course, Forever is keeping P3 for the time being, Falcon is getting menacingly closer and closer to him, and of course, Viper Sonic is doing his absolute best to keep up with those two. Also, I think I saw Darts, yes, on the attack. So Darts having a look at Adrian, and there's also a battle between the Kurmas of Valiant and Skilltech in the background, which I think ended up with Valiant getting ahead. Now we can see as, of course, Darts trying to get maybe a maneuver done onto his friend here. We can go maybe to Valiant GB under pressure from his teammate Skilltech, going towards turn 1. I think it is one of the closest battle. Actually, there's Spartanex versus, I think that's, I'm not too sure who that is. I think that's Jason Shot. But here, Notham done, and they both end up quite nicely ahead and into the P8 and P9, all the while Lobter is getting, of course, closer and trying his absolute best to get into position. In the meanwhile, purple lap time from Tits. Tits setting at 40.3, so he is, as we say, indemoniato and trying to get as close as possible to the podium, or actually points position, especially seeing what's going to happen in race 2, which is going to be, of course, with reverse grid. Now, as I say that, we go back, of course, to Falcon, chasing after Forever, and we have a look maybe at another close battle, which is, of course, from Lobter. We can see here, actually, let's go from Lobter, because Lobter is very close to Skilltech, and I think, and I'm very likely thinking he's gonna go for a very nice dive here. Let's have a look at the at the hairpin. Skilltech decides to go defensive, but Lopter doesn't care and breaks around the outside and gets the maneuver done onto the braking of the round the outside. So very nice maneuver by the British driver, who's now gonna chase onto higher position. Now we go to Darts, who's chasing after Adrian instead. And also we stay with, I mean actually, let's stay with Falcon here. Actually, a nice little thing I can do is show from Forever point of view with the rear view from his car. As Teats is pushing, of course, and trying to get back into P10, we can see Darts chasing after Adrian, trying to find a way to get into the top 6, which may be like a dream for him, of course. And as the top 5 are very close together, he wants to be there and fight, of course, for higher position. In the meanwhile, Maggio answers with a 40.4 fastest lap time for the race so far. And as everyone goes into the main finish straight, they are all very close together. Darts outbreaks himself, and I think that's gonna cost him a little while. Let's move back to Forever, because he is hounded by Falcon, who's trying his absolute best to get a maneuver done. Let's actually go on board with him, because he got a nice exit, and I think a dive bomb is coming in this next section. As Teats answer with 40.3, we see if Falcon breaks late. Yes, he does, into the right-hand hairpin. He goes, of course, wide. Forever decides to fight back. They're gonna be side by side. Maybe I'm not sure if Falcon got a better exit. I think he does not. But of course, Forever decides to go defensive. And from this point of view, of course, Vipersonic is the one who's maybe licking his lips, trying to find a way to get advantage out of this battle. And as Falcon tries to find a way too, there's another contact. A very hard one, which thankfully does not end up like with Tits. And as, of course, Viper sees this battle, he gets closer, and maybe he's trying to find an occasion to maybe overtake, of course, these two lads here. All the while, we stay on board also with Darts, who is trying and still pressuring, of course, Adrian to get a maneuver done. And also I saw in the background Lopter very close to Valiant, maybe doing a maneuver, but also there's Vipersonic trying round outside. Wait a minute, is Viper gonna be able to make a maneuver around outside of Viper? No, he's not. And of course Falcon is also trying to pressure Forever as much as possible. We go into the last corner. This is gonna turn into a 3-wide moment quite easily, especially if someone gets the last corner wrong. In the meanwhile, Alex Maggio 40.1, he's absolutely flying, but not flying as much as Falcon, who wants that 3rd place. And so he goes round the outside, outbreaks our friend Forever, and decides to complete the maneuver. Is he gonna be able to stay there? Hard to tell, but I think he is. And so he gets ahead. Now it's up to Vipersonic to find a way to get through. All the while, of course, Adrian is in this battle and does not want to concede a meter to anyone, of course. Into this next section, very intense battling between these 5 drivers. Who is gonna be, of course, able to get the best out of everyone? There's a pinch of brake from Adrian, who decides not to rear-end Vipersonic. But as we go up the hill, we can see this group staying very close together and trying to do their absolute best to run away as fast as possible from whoever is coming from behind. In this case, of course, is Lopter, who managed to overtake, of course, our friend Valiant and Skilltech, and he's running as fast as possible. So big dive bomb from Vipersonic, who manages to get into P4 but concedes the position instantly to Forever. And all the while, our friend here Adrian tries to get close. Everyone goes wide, but no one concedes a position, and everyone stays into position as it was before the start of this whole thing. We can see Forever getting very defensive. Viper is gonna try around outside. It's not gonna be enough. Is it gonna be a switchback? It's gonna try, but it's gonna lose the rear, and that's gonna put him into pressure from Adrian, who decides to try to get down the inside. I think there was contact, no contact, but actually Forever goes wide and loses all the places he lost in this fight. So now Darts and Adrian are all ahead of him. Dramatic situation. And also Skilltech, I think, made a mistake. Yes, a big one, because I can see he's spinning out and getting overtaken by Tits and Jason Short. What chaotic situation. There's a side-by-side, which I just missed, between Darts and Adrian on the main straight. We can see Darts breaking late. Is Adrian gonna try and switch back him? Yes, he is. And into this next section, Darts is gonna have the inside into this fast left-hander. Adrian, is it gonna try and keep it round the outside? Not enough to complete the maneuver, and now he's gonna have to wait and see if there's maybe a way to get this maneuver done. So, as Darts now is chasing after Vipersonic, which is something I was not thinking was possible until a few days ago. We can see Adrian now under pressure from Forever, and now Forever, with a better exit, may start to try and gain back some of the places he lost with his mistake a few laps ago. But so, Forever seems to be ahead into the breaking point for the hairpin. He's gonna be able to stay there. He's gonna be able to keep the position. Adrian breaks late, tries to close in on the exit. He's gonna keep the position there, but it's not enough to keep the position at all. So he's gonna have to concede for P7 and stay behind Forever for the time being. What an intense set of laps we've just had. And so, as they all go together, we may still see maybe a maneuver from Adrian, because the breaking point here is quite tricky and there's a lot of line you can take around this section here to get some battle. And as Forever especially loses the rear end of the car, we can see Adrian getting down the inside. It's gonna be a drag race around this last part of the track into the penultimate corner side by side. Adrian decides wisely not to try and do anything silly, and so he concedes the position and stays behind our friend, of course, Forever. All the while, we can see the red mist of Lobster right behind, closing and getting faster and faster and faster, closer to this top 7 fight. All the while, I wonder, where is Tits? Tits, round the last corner, chasing after Jason Short, and next, of course, Valiant GB. A recovery race and a half for him, but of course, this is all he has to do. Also, what the hell happened? I saw something happen, I'm not sure. There was some change of position. I think Valiant made a mistake. He made a mistake. I'm not sure. Let's actually check, because we got Forever, we got Dust, we got Piper, we got Falcon, we got Thomas. I'm not sure what happened really around the position. So maybe a little bit of a glitch around the leaderboard. But that's okay. We got Forever and Adrian now still fighting, and Adrian still chasing and trying to find a way to get past Forever to maybe get into that P6, which may be so worthwhile for him. Still 17 minutes left to go in this race one, and oh, there's a dive bomb from Adrian, which ends up with, well, a quite dramatic really counter maneuver from Forever, but thankfully no harm done. I mean, not totally. And Adrian now trying to chase back and get into position for an attack onto Forever. Let's go on board with him through this section. Both going a little bit too wide. I would like to go on board with Lobster actually, because he has the best view in the house for this inside battle between the Spaniard and the Italian. So there's now Spanish faction versus Italian faction versus British faction. We are back into the Imperial era of Napoleon, and we just miss a French driver to see actually Forever spinning out and going into the wall. This is drama, as Alex Maggio says, the fastest lap, but Forever, another big mistakes for him, and this is costly, because now he gets Jason Short right behind him, and even closer to him, we can see now Tates seeing the light of day ahead of him, and seeing the chance to actually get into P9 likely, which is of course, well, gonna be a little bit underwhelming considering his race start, but of course, it's gonna be the best he can hope for this race for the time being. Meanwhile, let's go back to Lobster, because he's hounding, of course, Adrian, and at the same time we can see Darts driving faster than Vipersonic and getting closer to that P4, so there's two different protagonists in these races, and I'm gonna show, of course, Lobster from the side view on the left hand side, while we concentrate instead on Darts chasing after Vipersonic for P4 in this incredible race here in Oklahoma. All the while, there's also, of course, the battle between Tates, Jason Short and Forever, but we're gonna concentrate on that later on, likely. So, while Darts, of course, is not likely able to complete the maneuver soon, we're gonna keep a camera on Tates here in the background as he fights, of course, with Jason Short and Forever. And while that happens, as there's a little bit of lag from Tate's point of view, we can see our friend Lobster trying his absolute best to get closer and closer and closer to our friend Adrian to try and conquer P6 from his close. So, as we go ahead, as we see, of course, Darts hounding after Viper, as we see Tates recovering as much as possible in this last 15 minutes, as we see Lobster drifting through this section, incredible drift, and there's a contact, I think, actually. What happened here? Another crash from Forever. I'm not sure what the hell happened, but Tates somehow got into P10, and Forever is now behind in P11. We go back instead, sorry, to Lobster, because once again he's chasing after our friend here, Hadred, and I think is maybe close enough to maybe try a maneuver. Likely he is, but he's not gonna try anything silly for the time being. He's gonna try and set up maybe the exit or something else to try and get some advantage. In the meanwhile, also there's this battle here between Jason Schott and Tits, with Tits actually getting ahead on near the last corner. I think it is. I'm not sure where they are on the track, but that of course managed to get Tits now finally into P9 and chasing after a possible P8. Then, right ahead of them, there's this battle here, which is quite far ahead. It's actually 10 seconds from Valiant, to be completely honest. So, as, of course, Lobter gets a better exit out of the uphill hairpin, he's gonna try to keep the inside to maybe complete a maneuver. Actually, I think the better exit went to Adriat, because now Lobter is close enough. He may be trying to go for a dive bomb, and he's going for it, of course. And as he goes down the inside, Adriat is not gonna fight too hard, of course. He's gonna fight reasonably hard enough. But as he drops down to P7, after a very valiant effort, he has to concede to the British driver, who has now 4.7 seconds in 13 minutes to recover to get into P5. So, he now has to chase after that, and with this, we move, of course, to, well, a dive bomb and a half. We don't move from this situation here, because Adriat is still fighting, of course, for that position, and he's not gonna try and leave that. We show instead darts, because he's getting ever so closer to our friend Viper, but Viper is not getting closer to Falcon, and Falcon, Thomas and Alex are all separated by quite a big margin, so that's the current situation. We move instead back to Tits, because he is chasing and putting a lot of pressure onto Valiant, and I wonder if Valiant is gonna be able to defend this position or not. We know how fast Tits can be, and I think Valiant is struggling quite a lot, yes, and on the exit of the last corner, we can see the difference in speed we got between the right Corsa and the Kurma Autosport. And so, into the first corner, he's gonna be able to outbrake the Kurma Autosport and go up into P8. Nice recovery drive, of course, but there's still a lot left to go. 9 seconds ahead of him, there's now clean air, and so there's also half a second between Darts and, of course, Vipersonic. This never-ending chase still going on with a friend here trying his absolute best to get possibly up into P4. A very intense chase, I gotta say, actually. So, another thing we have to keep in mind, of course, is the likelihood to see maybe blue flags, because you can see that Manuel Leggero, Spartanex and Skilltech don't really have the pace to keep up with most of the pack, and currently are probably staying behind there for quite a while. I don't think in 11 minutes they're gonna be able to be, you know, reached by the top runners, but still, it's something to keep in mind if something goes awry, especially behind the... Meanwhile, Dart's very confident on the racing line, chasing once again after Vipersonic. Let's go on board with him, actually. I'm quite curious to see if he can actually do something. Go, boy, show us what you've learned so far with all the training you've been doing in the last few days. Now, into the last corner here, very easy to go wide, very easy to do a mistake. Of course, we can see though, as Viper gets a better exit, we go into turn 1. Viper brakes very late, I gotta say. Darts instead brakes not so late as well, and closes up a lot of the gap into the exit of the corner. Then here, both patient onto the gas. Maybe a little bit too patient for Darts. That's gonna cost him at least 1 or 2 tenths, I think 1 tenth to be completely honest. And they move towards, of course, the big right-hand hairpin. Viper still keeping the pressure quite well, and Darts keeping, of course, his car there to let him know that every mistake he makes, he's there to get, of course, racy. In the meanwhile, another battle that is developing is Valiant GB versus, of course, Jason Schott, who's right behind, and I think he's actually catching and going faster than Valiant GB, who seems to be struggling a little bit. He was the one who finished the fuel on the last time out. We had a sprint race in Imola, so I just wonder, and I hope he actually got the calculations correct this time, because otherwise he's gonna have quite a bad time, of course, going into the end of the race. But as he goes, as he brakes, he can see Jason Schott be setting up a different line to maybe get him on the exit, but he doesn't seem to be able to complete the maneuver just of yet. So, the gaps are quite big all around the track. One of the closest instead is Skilltech versus Spartanex here in the battle for P14, which is something we can have a look at. In the meanwhile, Alex goes for a 39.7, so very nice lap time. And as we can see, Skilltech and Spartanex going side by side, so a nice little battle we can see between the two white horses of this race. we can maybe decide to go back to Dots soon enough, or maybe back to Jason Short, because in the meanwhile, Tits actually halved the gap, and now he's just 6 seconds behind Adrian. So Adrian may have to be a little bit careful, because every single slight miscalculation he does, Tits is gonna get closer and closer, and that's gonna be quite something to keep in mind, of course, because he can be quite dangerous. We go back instead to friend here, Jason Short, trying yet to overtake the Italian, trying to get the maneuver done on Valiant GB, all the while instead forever he went from the stars to the scars, of course, and now he's trying to keep close to get into the P10 somehow, into the top 10, sorry. As they both go towards this section, Jason Short locked in, trying to get more than 1 point in this specific sprint, and I think he's doing quite nicely, as of course we can see the Kuma Motorsport doing a little bit of a drift maneuver through the exit of that corner, so starting to struggle a little bit with tower, which of course is quite high, especially around a corner like, a track like this one, but still managing quite nicely to stay where he is. As for the rest of the race, of course, we got Alex Maggio still leading, then Thomas is ready in P2 and then Falcon in P3, so nice little race for most of the guys up there. Now we can see both going through the technical section. Dart sadly got a little bit lost behind Viper and lost a little bit of time, but still keeping the pressure up. Lopter, though, is getting closer to both Darts and Viper Sonic, so I expect that maybe, just maybe, if he locks in enough, he may get close near the end of the race. So he's someone we gotta keep an eye on, of course. And as Jason Short seems not to be able to get ahead of Valiant just yet, I'm gonna wait, of course, for the last corner, because a mistake there can be lethal. We're gonna have a look to see if they both get it nicely. Tits is the one who actually does not get it nicely. Not at all, actually. He loses 1, 2, actually 3 places, and he's back into P11. So not the nicest race for him. Apparently was maybe pushing a little bit too hard, and that of course alleviates a lot of the pressure from Adrian, who was maybe hoping for something like this, although we don't really want to say this to Tits, of course, because this is not what Tits want. And we move back, maybe, I don't know, to, let's say, Dots, who's still chasing after Viper Sonic, and Viper still running a very nice pace right ahead. Lopter 3 seconds behind instead, trying to get close, and then Adrian, the last car in this top 7, followed by the literal void between him and then of course Valiant, followed by Jason Short forever, and then a very lonely and a very not happy race from Tits, who is still trying to get something out of this. So as Tits now gets into the happen, we move back actually to Dots, because he closed the gap a little bit, under a second, now 0.6, actually 0.5, I think. There's been a little bit of mistakes from Viper Sonic. I wonder if he's starting to feel the struggle from the tires, especially the rears, who start to step out at this point of the race. And with 6 minutes left to go, also there's Thomas, which I think gained a little bit of time on Alex Maggio, but nothing too significant really. We move back to Dots, who's still trying, keeping the pressure up, letting him know that every slight mistake, he's there to get the crumbles out of the creeps he gets. Ooh, there's also a little bit of grass clipping, and we move temporarily back to this battle here, because I think Jason may be just close enough, or maybe Jason may be just short of an overtake for P8 for the time being, which may be a little sad, of course, but nothing too sad. Let's stay with Dots on the top left, while we see this battle between the American and the Italian. All the while another Italian and another Italian again are behind the Americans, so it's kind of in a sandwich, an Italian one, or as we say here, a piadina romagnola. And as he's trying to get something out of this battle, we also see Dots confidently taking the second sector and getting ever so closer to Viper. So Viper maybe now he's starting to get pressure, but so is Valiant, because I think this is the closest our friend here Jason has been, and I think he's gonna try and go for it. No, he's not. He's gonna try the outside. Both trajectories get crossed, and now is he gonna be able to get something out of the exit? I think not. He has to be a little bit more aggressive than this if he's gonna be to try and do a maneuver. In the meanwhile, Darts goes a little bit too wide and loses a little bit of time to Viper Sonic. But while that happens, this battle here is cooking and is looking quite crazy, I gotta say. Both this battle between these two, but also the battle between, of course, oh, I think that was contact, and I'm not too sure, but also the battle between Forever and Tits right behind, because of course, while these guys are going for it at full speed, at full beams, as we say, the two behind are still fighting, and this is not quite an easy battle, because this is still the fight for P8, which is valuable points for this championship, of course. In the meanwhile, Jason, actually, wait a minute, there was a mistake. There was a mistake here from Thomas is ready, and Thomas is now under attack from Falcon. Not sure what happened, but Falcon takes the occasion and now climbs up into P2. So I'm not sure what happened to Thomas is ready, but he falls down to P3. In the meanwhile, there's also all kind of stuff happening, and I think, oh, Valiant actually made a big mistake because he's right behind now. But so, as Thomas is now trying to fight back on Falcon, trying to maybe have a look, we also can see Darts still fighting with Vipersonic, but still not close enough. 3 minutes left to go. Now, of course, Thomas is gonna be trying everything he can to get back the position, but so, we can see a mistake from Falcon, so he's gonna keep the pressure up and maybe try and overtake here into this next section. At the beginning of Sector 3, as we can see also Darts getting very close, so now the pressure is up in 3 different points of this race. Thomas pressuring as much as possible Falcon, Darts pressuring as much as possible the Polish driver, which is Vipersonic, and everyone trying their best. In the meanwhile, also Tits made a double overthinking maneuver, which I kinda lost, so my bad on that, of course. We may be recovering that in the post-race, hopefully. But now, Thomas pressuring as much as possible the German driver, and German driver not faltering through the last corner. 2 laps left to go, I think, with the current time situation left, and with Alex Maggio getting another easy possible win under his belt, we can see this battle still developing between 4 different drivers in the top 5. So, Thomas chasing, trying to get some tense, trying to get some place ahead of Falcon. He will have to try maybe a dive bomb to do that, and that's not gonna be easy at all. But he's not gonna surrender. He has a look onto this hairpin. Maybe on the exit he can try and do something if he can get the car pointed in the right direction. So his Darts getting very close and very pressuring our friend here. There's also blue flag here, which is Spartanex, getting nicely out of the way, hopefully. He's still there, but I think it's gonna be out of the way for most of the drivers once the battle gets, of course, done. But Falcon brakes, tries to stay on the line. Thomas gets a little bit off shape onto this next section, and so is not able yet to attack, of course, the German driver. Darts in the meanwhile, you can see him on the left hand side, still pressuring very hard Viper, but Viper still not falling, still not making mistakes. And all of this while, of course, Lofter is just 2 seconds behind. So all the all the battles they may have, of course, may end up in catastrophe. And there's a blue flag in the middle of the battle between these two, but thankfully it does not get in the way. But there's a little bit of a step out from Vipersonic on the left hand side. All the while these two, of course, are battling. I think we are on the final lap, quite sure we are. And so, with Vipersonic still managing to stay ahead of Thomas is ready, we can see Darts and Vipersonic behind, able to stay in the positions as they were, of course, before. And so, as we go into turn 1, we can see both of them now moving into this first sector. As we can see, of course, also Viper still struggling and still fighting for his life to get into position to stay ahead of Darts, who is still pressuring and still trying to get away through. I think these two are not gonna get a battle done. I think Darts may be doing a maneuver quite soon, as yeah, there's a big slap from, of course, Thomas, who's gonna spell end to this battle. We move back to Vipersonic, fighting after his 3rd place, currently under check from Darts. And as we go, of course, with Alex Maggio on the left hand side, just to give him a little bit of space, for what's possibly gonna be a very likely race win. I wonder if Darts is gonna go for it, because he is close. He is very, very close. He's gonna brake late, but it's not gonna be late enough for a maneuver. It's gonna be wise and think about possibly the points. Think about the children, the families watching him, hoping for him to get a nice exit. And so, as in the meanwhile, we can see Alex Maggio getting to the last 2 corners for what's gonna be quite an easy race win from his point of view. We concentrate here in the battle for P number 4, and also let's actually go to Thomas is ready quite soon, because Darts is gonna try in this last sector Thomas, as of course Alex Maggio wins, is not close enough to complete a maneuver. But here the battle continues, but I think Darts is not gonna be good enough for the maneuver on the last lap. Either Viper mistakes the last corner, which is hard to tell really, but I think it's gonna be just fine. Yes, he is. And they finish the race in this exact order, with Viper Sonic concluding the race in P3, followed by Darts in an amazing P4, and then P5 for Lopter. Then we wait, of course, for Adrit in P number 6, should be, quite sure. Let's see, Adrit, actually think it is P7, yes it is, P7 for Adrit, and then we wait for everyone else. In this case, I think it's gonna be Tits, the next car in, of course, the line, who's gonna finish, I think, in P number 8 as with Tough. And then, incredibly, we got Jason Short finishing in P9, very nice result, and then I think it's Forever in P10. Then Valiant, having a little bit of a sad result in P11, but still fought valiantly till the very end, as he goes crashing, of course, into the wall. And then we wait for Iron Alex, getting, of course, his P12 and another close position for the Kurma Autosport. And yeah, we can see Tits lamenting a drive-through without a reason. Tits, I'm pretty sure if it gave you a drive-through, I'm pretty sure it's because you jumped the start, because that's the only way you can get a drive-through. But look at the bright side, there's still race 2 right ahead, so despite everything, despite the finishing order, we have Alex Maggio winning race 1, followed by Falcon, then Thomas, Viper Sonic, Darts, Lopter, Adrit, Tits, Jason Short, and Forever in the top 10. Then we wait, of course, for Valiant, Iron Alex, then Magna Leggero finishing the race in P number 13, and crossing the line just now, of course. And then we wait for, well, I was gonna say Skilltech and Spartanex, but surely since they of course finished the race one lap down, they are already in the pit lane. So we wait, of course, for race number 2. Of course, now there's Tits saying that he didn't jump the start, but I'm pretty sure if he got a drive-through, that was the only possible reason I can think of. So that's likely what happened. We shall never know what happened really, or we'll have a look post-race. But currently, race 1 surely didn't go too well for the I forgot the name of the team, sorry. The right Corsa. So, which is sad, with such a sad end to race 1, we can just wait and hope for a better race 2, surely. And thus, we take a break. A small one, of course. Also take a breath, because, you know, this was quite an intense race, I gotta say. But that's just the nature of this kind of races. And so, with everyone in the pit lane, 1 minute and 30 left to go, with the with some nice words from Alex Maggio in the chat, we wait for the start of race 2, which is gonna be, of course, with reverse grid, or at least should be. If it's not, then I guess it's on me, although I think we did everything as best as we can, and should be with reverse grid, yep. Top 28 reversed, so that's the point. Another chance for most of the drivers, and now we get ready for what's gonna likely be some chaos. Once again, I mean, first race was too chill, I guess. And we wait for 30 seconds. As I see some funny stuff happening in Bathurst, which is of course hosting instead the 12 hours race in the meanwhile. Of course, that's quite a long race compared to this one, but that's alright. We race just for 1/12 of what's the race of the Aussies. And so, as the countdown hits now 0, we wait just another minute once the grid gets formed for the start of race number 2. So, as I go, of course, out of the way, we can see Lopter not starting, of course, in pole position, but we got Skilltech in pole position, followed by Magna Leggero and then Iron Alex. Then we got Valiant GB, followed by Forever, Darts, E, Viper Sonic, Tits, Adrit, Lopter, Alex Maggio starting last, although he's showing in P12 for some reason, And then of course we got Falcon, Thomas, and Spotanex. I mean, Spotanex still starting last, not sure why. But that's okay, I guess. Still some Assetto Corsa shenanigans happening. So, 19 seconds to the start of race 2. Everyone is waiting for what's gonna be possibly a very chaotic race start because everyone is out of order. And many people are gonna have to fight. So, 4 laps, 4 lights. We get ready for the start of race number 2 here in Oklahoma. And the race is go! 30 minutes for race 2. And currently everything is looking quite nicely. Everyone's having a nice little start, and now going towards turn number 1. We have a nice little sandwich which ends, I think, with Kurma Autosport going wide, and yes it is, because I think I saw something happening right behind. Yes, I think there was some chaos. But so Tits now gets his revenge occasion and now has to fight and gets a nice maneuver onto Magniamo più tardi o Magna Leggero. And so now, as chases after the other guys, we can see a terrible 3 wide moment here, which is not gonna end quite nicely, I think. Yes, there is a lot of movement, a lot of contact, and a lot of cars going wide, such as Magna Leggero, who gets into the gravel. But so Vipersonics manages to get into nice position. There's contact, I think, behind between Thomas and Lopter, but Thomas manages to stay ahead of the British driver. And so, as they go, there's also Tits on the fight with Valiant GB and also the other Kurma. So a battle between one right Corsa and 2 Kurma's Autosport, but Tits decides not to go into the maneuver for this corner, especially because with cold tires he's gonna be scared. Instead, everyone is scared here for the contacts, and Falcon gets hit from behind, such as Kama, for what happened in possibly race number 1. And as he fights into this technical section, we got everyone just fighting all around the corners, everyone all around the world. And as we go towards this section, we can see the order is formed, and so Thomas is trying to fight some way through and ahead of Vipersonic. All the while there's a battle, and Ditz is now side by side with Vipersonic, and Vipersonic trying to get ahead of him. They're gonna go into this right-hander all together now. There's a battle between all the big guys, the big guns, and the 2 Kurma Autosport, and so they move into the last few corners. Everyone's trying not to do anything too crazy. I think I saw Lopter getting a little bit too wide, but is nicely able to not crash into something. And so, as now Valiant is fighting with possibly Vipersonic, who gets into P2, we wait for turn 1 as Skilltech tries to run away. But now, of course, Tits goes for the dive bomb of his entire career and decides to go into P3 nicely and chasing now after our friend Viper, who big aggressive maneuver from Valiant, who manages not to fuck everything up. And so with this now chasing after the Polish driver, everyone else is trying to get into position to maybe have a nice little race, but not for Thomas, because Thomas is ready to have a dive bomb, and a dive bomb he has because Valiant goes wide and loses not 1 but 2 position to both him and of course Falcon, who is still trying to fight back and maybe get another good result here in race 2. Everyone also chasing after Skilltech, who is still leading the race after 2 or actually 1.5 laps. So, into the breaking point, I think I see Thomas trying to have a maneuver, but also I can see Falcon under attack from Valiant, who's gonna try and have a little look down the inside, not able yet to take the maneuver. And so, as they go into this section here, everyone is still into position, and also I can see Alex Maggio just behind in P9, trying to find a way to get into some good positions. And so he is, because I think he's attacking. Actually, he was attacking. Surely Valiant is attacking Falcon there, but he's attacking darts, and with some little contact, he gently forces him wide to get into position, and now maybe he can maneuver around the side of him to get into possibly P number 8, and so he does, although he goes a little bit too wide. Now we move back into the battle between Valiant and the other 2 drivers here, and there's also this incredible battle ahead between these 3 drivers, because as Tits goes wide, I think this is the occasion that our friend Thomas was waiting for, but decides not to go for the maneuver just as yet. Or maybe he is, I'm not too sure really. He's thinking, he's not thinking, he's thinking, he's not thinking. He decides not to do that. As Falcon, as Viper decides to go wide, but not enough to get some maneuver done on him. So chaos all around as darts drop down to P9 behind. And there's battle all around the board, really. Everywhere you look, there's some chaos for the first few laps. But so, as Viper is now able to stay ahead, there's a 3-way battle here. I think there's contact between these 2 drivers, and of course now we got Tits spun around once again, and that's gonna make him so mad. I'm so sure about that. I'm actually kind of scared to get the interview done. But so it's Maggio. Also Maggio got spun, so now everything is up to play for. So with Thomas, after what was, well, quite aggressive maneuver surely. He's now fighting to try to get something here, but here comes Lobter, sorry, not Lobter, here comes Jason Short, trying to get a maneuver on Falcon. Incredible scenes here as the American is trying a way through the German driver, not able to get through just of yet, but still able to fight for P8. So as they two get into this train here, you can see Teats behind, incredibly mad and incredibly furious for this, you know, an injustice that happened because of Thomas. And now as Thomas is trying to keep his P6, you can see Darts, who in all of this somehow got into P5, I'm not sure really how, chasing after Valiant and trying to find a way through. In all of this, there's also a battle for the lead, and the battle for the lead is gonna be quite close and quite, you know, fast, because Viper manages to get into P1, overtaking Skilltech quite easily. Skilltech didn't get the exit he wanted out of the last corner, and now Lobter may want to maybe try a maneuver into turn 1. He brakes very late and he touches the Kurma Autospot, who drifts wide but manages to catch the drift midway through, and now there's two cars getting through. Jesus Christ, that was sometimes Schumacher kind of stuff, as now the Kurma decides to get Divine Judgment on Thomas, who gets pushed wide, and now Falcon is up into P6 as Thomas drops down into P8 and now possibly also P9. But the battle for the lead is not over, because we have to see these two. Sorry, we move to side. We maybe have a look from this point of view, as we can see from forever the battle for P9, but we have to see Vipersonic versus Lobter, because the battle for P1 is fully on, and everything is happening all around. Also, I think Thomas is getting overtaken by this, and yes, he is. So Divine Judgment just worked in his favor. You cannot escape calamity, as he finds out, and as these two decide to go to go into this section, there's battle all around the world, all around the place. We can see also Darts chasing after Valiant. Battle for P3 also getting as intense as you can think, but we can just have so many cameras on the track at one time, so we can just, you know, have a look at what we can really. Oh, what a situation. We can see also Falcon fighting with Darts, actually, let's go back to Darts, because Darts overtakes Valiant into the penultimate corner, and so, just like Il Dietologo, he tries to go for a maneuver into the last corner, and as Valiant goes wide, the other Kurma goes even wider. Everything is going on at the same time. Also, let's keep the battle for the lead here on the top left, because this is everything. Falcon versus Darts versus Valiant into turn 1. Darts brakes very late. He stays down the inside. Is this gonna be enough to get into P3? I think it is. This is it. Valiant fights back. Skilltech disconnects, but Darts is up into P3 as Falcon also fights to try and get past the Italian driver Valiant GP. And so he moves to the side once, twice, even thrice, and into the braking zone. He's not able to find a way through. And so as they drive up the hill, we move towards the battle for the lead. Sorry, Darts, because what the fuck is going on here? We can see Lobter maybe close enough for a maneuver on Vipersonic for the lead. And close he is, because he's gonna go down the inside. Vipersonic does not defend. He does not defend, and he's gonna go down into second place. All the while Darts loses the rear, but is able to keep position, and so Falcon overtakes Valiant. But the battle for the lead goes to Lobter, and also there's contact between Falcon and I think, what the hell happened here? Wait a minute, what happened? This is up to into P4. What the hell is going on? This somehow has managed to go back into this race, and the chaos is still raging on. Somewhat, the battle is still raging on right here. We got Adrian versus Forever versus Valiant versus Alex Macho. Everyone is fighting as Lobter, actually, as Adrian loses the rear, it goes into the wall. Oh no! And so Alex instead manages to overtake Forever, but Forever decides to fight back as much as possible. And there's a lot of side by side also. Thomas is ready, trying to find a way through, trying to find a way to get ahead of Valiant. He's gonna be able to turn 1. This is gonna be a heartbreaking point for him. He tries to, he loses the rear a lot, and there's contact, and the Divine Judgment strikes twice. What a situation we got here, and Alex Maggio appears out of nowhere and attacks Valiant and is able to get into position. There's still 20 fucking minutes left. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Alex is able to get through, and now he's fighting with Forever, with Valiant, who is losing place after place after place. So there's almost contact here, but also Falcon is trying to recover some place here. These two go side by side, but also there's Vipersonic not losing the battle to Lopter as he goes wide, as we can see from the side. Let's not look at that for the time being, because what the hell? Into the breaking point, there's a lot of looks all around, but not good enough to have maybe an overtaking maneuver done. We're gonna have a look at these from Falcon point of view, because we moved to Teats because he's catching dots and he wants that podium after everything that's happened both in race 1 and also in this race here. So as Falcon manages to get easily ahead of Valiant, we can see Teats absolutely flying, the fury of the storm, trying to get now towards darts to get that position from him, all the while Vipersonic is fading away from the lead of Lopta. Oh, what a chaos this was. Also, let's have a look at Alex Maggio, because he's also menace here, and you can see he's right behind there, close to Thomas is ready. 20 minutes left, and as Teats sets the fastest lap, 40.3, he's hounding dots, trying to find a way through, trying to find a way to chase after the leaders, of course, because that's likely what he wants. Also, I think I saw Short going a little bit long right behind, which of course was not too optimal. But here we can see Teats now close, very close to darts. I think he's gonna go for it. He's likely gonna go for the dive. Yes, he breaks very late, and so he stays down the inside. Darts knows that he may not want to fight this too hard, especially considering what's behind, but he does not care for what his brain says, because his heart is screaming for a battle, and the Lux decide to kill both of them for some reason. I don't know why this decided to happen, but catastrophe strikes once again, and oh man, this was so underwhelming, especially considering how the Teats recovery was going. So after what is likely gonna be not the best thing ever, we can see Forever losing the rear there, and with some drama after drama after drama, we move back to Jason Short, who is somehow up to P3 now, fighting with the likely of Thomas is ready and Alex Maggio. All the while instead Teats now is trying to gain back the time he lost once again. Alex Maggio instead, sorry, let me get to him. Maggio trying to maneuver around the outside of Thomas, and Thomas not leaving an inch to him. Now going into this right hand side, we can see Alex getting a little bit too much on the grass, and that bites him too much because he goes wide, hell of a lot wide. Oh no, don't do it! Oh man, Teats somehow gets ahead of Alex Maggio, and now Maggio falls down behind Falcon. What the hell? You cannot really predict what the hell is going on. What else is gonna happen? We're gonna see probably, I don't know, fucking Mark Marquez getting with a Moto3 on track. That's also likely to happen at this point. But somehow, now we got the bottom 43 between Jason Short and Thomas is ready. Then Teats behind, we thought we was dead, but apparently his death was greatly exaggerated, because he's coming back and is likely to find a way through to maybe do something to fight back. And so, as the locked in Jason Short tries to fight for this podium, we can see Vipersonic losing ground towards the leader of the race, which is Lopter. All the while there's also, actually let's go on board with Alex Maggio, because he's chasing after our friend Falcon, and so there's contact. Lopter manages to stay ahead, but not for long, because I think it's gonna go wide, and so as Shorts goes long, we can see Thomas getting a little bit dirtily the position on Short, and so as he now drops down to P4, he's got the mad Italian Teats right behind, clearly in search for something to live for. Also, darts in all of these drop down to P10. I think I kinda lost what happened there, because he was way higher before and now he's way lower, so I kinda missed the crash that happened to him, or I didn't really notice, but considering all the chaos, I hope you can kinda forgive me for that. And so, as now Jason Short has Teats behind, and I don't know if he really wants to fight with him, because he's looking quite mad from my point of view. The battle continues, and so as the gap between the top two increases to 8 bloody seconds, we can see Teats trying to have a braking maneuver into T1, and I think he's gonna have it, and without too much difficulty he spins out. I'm not sure how that happened, but Teats has another spin, and that spills doom, likely, for what was a very chaotic race already. So, with Tits dead once again, we go back for the battle for P4 because somehow Jason Shot is still fourth. Then we got Falcon and then Maggio right behind. And as all of three of them go into this right-hander uphill, we see all of them trying to somehow get Thomas, who is of course readily trying to chase after Viper and Lobter. And as that happens, as the battle goes on also right behind, we can see Jason trying to defend from Falcon because of course he does not want to concede that position. And Falcon is doing his absolute best to try and overtake him. Let's go on board actually with Alex Maggio to see what he can do, because I feel like he's close enough to try something in the next few laps. And as drama continues to unfold in this, I don't know, we can call it race I guess, we can see the maneuver from Alex, very decisive, that goes down the inside and with enough grip manages to get him into P5 currently. And as Short loses the rear, I think this may be easily a second maneuver for him. He tries to have a look down the inside, but decides of course to just scare him to get wide. And then as he goes into the last corner, I think Falcon may have a little counter-attack here, because he's looking quite nicely close, and also all of them are really close, both these three and also Forever, Adrian and Darts right behind. We have a bloody 3 wide into turn 1 between Alex, Jason and Falcon. And so, who's gonna be ahead at the end of this one? As Falcon decides to try and counterattack all of them at the same time. There's also the battle behind. But so, as there's a lot of lag from Jason Short, who drops him into the, you know, way back because he spins apparently. We got still Alex Maggio versus Falcon, which has a really likely Falcon trying to get into position to attack Alex. But Alex yet able to keep the position as well. I wonder if Falcon is going to try maybe to do a dive bomb. 30 minutes left. Jesus Christ, this race flew, if I gotta say. But of course, the race is not over yet, and with all the drama unfolding, I really don't know what's gonna happen in the next few parts, because also as there's this battle going on, I also like to have a look at this one, because Tits once again has a maneuver on Darts and he is not surrendering. He wants to fight back. He loses the rear of course with that maneuver, but he's still fighting, and that's commendable in my opinion. After everything that has happened, still fighting the will to go on, to fight back for points with 13 minutes left to go. It's something I can just commend and applaud, of course, from my point of view. So, as Falcon is not letting, of course, Alex getting away, we can see the battle between all these 4 drivers here for the entirety of P6, really, which is also something I was not expecting, really. With Tits still trying to recover all the places he's lost, with all the worst kind of luck he kinda had with this big ass slide on the last corner, and with this chase on Darts, which is gonna end up with him actually getting side by side with him. All the while, Maggio is starting now to break away from Falcon. I mean, a little bit, so it looks like. Also, there's a car on T1. I'm not sure what that is. At least I can see him on the left on board. Not sure who that was. But as Tits now manages to get ahead of Darts with a nice clean maneuver, he now tries to chase after Adrian and likely Forever for what's likely gonna be his possible finishing position of P6, of course, if we do not consider drama, which is likely unfolding here between Falcon and Alex Maggio, because Falcon, he's fighting back. After all, he's called the Kaiser for a reason, and he is a menacing presence. And Alex, I think, is starting to recognize that, because he cannot shake him off just as yet. So as now we get into the breaking point, of course we can see Falcon not trying to do anything silly just of yet. And as both of them try to go there, I think I saw Adrian also getting overtaken by Tits in the meanwhile, but still fighting back. Actually, let's have a look at this one, because this is a nice battle. Darts trying to get here. Oh, there's a 3 wide Darts. He's gonna try and be a very silly boy, but thankfully, no harm done. And somehow Tits manages to get up into P7. Ooh, I had to hold my breath a little bit there, because that was scary, to say the least. We go ahead. Also, we think we lost the driver. I think it was Kiltech who left the race earlier. Not sure. I saw that with the side of my eye before, but I'm not too sure. We go back as they go ahead here to the battle for P number 4, because Falcon trying to stay close, of course, to Alex, and Alex still pushing like an absolute mad lad. And of course, Tits also now fighting his arch nemesis Forever.exe for P6. Right behind. Actually, let's have a look at him, because knowing him, he's gonna try something quite soon, and he is already trying something quite soon. This is the kind of battle we kinda like to see the kind of chaos we really like. So as we have a look at Falcon, now losing, of course, the chase to Alex, we can see now Tits, with 10 minutes left to go, trying to find a way to maybe gain a position, and there's a little bit of a late braking maneuver from Forever, but Tits is not concerned about that because he knows how to get a good exit out of here, and so he does. And maybe is that good enough to get head-to-head with him? Yes, he is. And now, with a side-by-side action on the main straight, Tits is likely gonna have to outbrake the other Italian driver, and so he is. And so Adrian is also having a look, maybe a little sneaky maneuver into the hairpin, but is not able to conclude. And so with Forever fighting back, trying to get something out of this, is not able to re-overtake Tits, and so Tits moves out into P6. Likely not the position he was, you know, aiming for, but still a very nice one nevertheless. Also, Adrian now attacking Forever, and as there is a little bit of contact, the two of them managed to get, a little bit feisty, really, and Daz decides to finish the job by killing Forever once and for all. So, as Forever spins out, he decides to get the rear, I'm not sure how it's called, the reverse grid, and after almost crashing onto Valiant, he lets everyone through, and I mean, I appreciate the fact that he decides not to crash everyone else, but we see now Alex Maggio getting the fastest lap, and now getting closer to Thomas is ready. 9 minutes left to go, and the situation is starting finally to get a little bit more, you know, less chaotic. We got Lopter leading the race with the number 86, then Vipersonic in P2, 6 seconds, 0.9 away from the leader, then Thomas in P3, shadowed by Alex Maggio right behind, Falcon chasing, of course, him and likely waiting for a battle between the two of them right ahead to maybe take the occasion to gain a position and possibly a podium, and then Tits hoping for a miracle at this point to get more position up over P6, because after everything that has happened, he likely had the pace, of course, to fight for a higher position, I'd say even P2, but sadly, the calamity has hit him way more than once, and that, of course, has hurt him way more than he would have liked. But you know what they say, it's of course Saint Valentine, and love hurts, and this is what is racing. Racing is love, and love hurts. Now, back here we can see the fight is quite nice, and then we got Magna Leggero, very far away, but fighting at least with Spartanex for the entirety of P13 in a class of their own, which I mean, it's not really the best thing to say, but it's still something. Back to Maggio, and we see maybe on board with him the chase for P3. Towards the last two corners, trying of course not to go too wide here, because if you do, bad stuff tends to happen, especially if you touch the gravel. Now, as they go towards turn 1, 7 minutes left, should be, I don't know, 4 or 5 laps. And Maggio, currently 14.2, his current fastest lap time of the race, beaten by Tits with a 40.0, which is exactly what I meant with, it's such a shame not to see him up ahead here, because he has the pace to fight. But you know what else happened? We can see here Thomas making a mistake, and now that's gonna put him into an attacking position, a defensive position from Alex, who may be likely going for a maneuver soon. We can see now through the hairpin, is Alex gonna be able to have a better exit and maybe just get side by side with Thomas on the main straight? I think he may be. Is Thomas instead gonna go defensive? Because this is likely gonna be an attacking maneuver from Alex, and likely, as showing him going down the inside, it is. And so Alex breaks very late, and think it's gonna be a switchback from Thomas, and I wonder, is Falcon close enough to take advantage? No, he's not. So, failed maneuver from Alex, but that's not the end of the world. 6 minutes left, and he can play with his prey as much as he wants. I think likely Viper and Lopter are a little bit too far away for him as well, so he will have to, you know, be content for just a podium for this race, which is still a very good result considering that he made a win in race number 1, and now he's fighting still for a podium. And with just one race left to go, this is all he can care for, of course, for the championship. Now, into the last two corners, there's also Darts fighting with Deadred. I'm gonna keep him on the left-hand side for your viewing pleasure, and also Jason Short versus Valiant GB, which is another nice little fight we have in the background, which I'm not gonna be able to show you because of how many screens I can put at the same time. So, as the battle here for P3 rages on, and Falcon decides, you know, not to get too much far away from them, we go after T1, and as Valiant and Jason Short are fighting. I think I saw something shifting, but I'm not sure of what really, because see Darts now finally battling with Tidrid right behind, and at the same time here the battle for Pichu. I'm gonna keep an eye on the battle for that for the time being. Well, of course we see on the broadcast the battle between these three lads here, but I don't think Darts is close enough to try a maneuver on Adrian just yet. Now I wonder, going back for the battle for P3, is Thomas ahead enough of Alex to defend this position? Yes, he is, into this breaking point here. Alex still hounding him, still trying to find a way to get through. And now into this left-hander here, everyone tied, and I think maybe Alex a little bit too wide, but thankfully did not touch the gravel, which would have killed his momentum. He now tries to have a look, to find a way through, and he has a dive bomb and a half. I think that scared Thomas, and I think it is because, ooh, there's a lot of contact, but Thomas is not conceding the position at all, and they two go side by side in the last section. Now, as of course Alex has once again to probably try something different, he has a little bit of contact and he goes wide. This is the occasion that Falcon was waiting for, and that is Falcon getting up into P4. Now, the two of them will go side by side. Tits is of course waiting for this. 4 minutes left, maybe not enough, but you may never know, of course. And now with Alex and Falcon going towards turn number 1, we can see Alex breaking too late for Falcon likings, and of course Falcon trying to fight back, but not enough to get back side by side into this sector 1. And all of this, Thomas gets a little bit of braking room, which gets instantly lost by touching the gravel, so they are gonna be side by side once again, very likely at the end of this second straight. So Alex getting close, trying to have a little look, but it's not gonna be enough to get a maneuver done. Falcon also trying to get close, but now on the exit I think Alex may have got it. I'm not sure. Now the Scuderia Agile decides to go instantly on the right hand side to get defensive, and now Alex will have to try a different kind of maneuver. He stays in the slipstream. Falcon decides to block the outside. Alex goes even more on the outside. Falcon decides to take the occasion to have a little bit of a dive. Alex goes around the outside of Thomas. They are I think 3 wide, but Alex goes onto the grass and completes somehow the maneuver. All of the while we can see Thomas fighting with Falcon, but Falcon not able to complete a single maneuver in all of this exchange, and so Alex somehow gets up into P3, all the while Tits manages to get close to this trio. Now I just wonder, is Tits gonna be able to get a maneuver done either on Falcon, or either Thomas, or either even Alex? I find that difficult, especially with 2 minutes left to go, but never say never here in MYASS, as the three of them go into the last section. As we see also Darts getting close to Adrian, but yet not close enough to complete a maneuver. We go onto the main straight. Alex already running away. Thomas starting to struggle a lot, either with tires or either with his, you know, fatigue in general. We go towards turn 1. I wonder, is Falcon gonna try something? The answer is no. Is Tits gonna try something? The answer is either way no. And so as they go into the second sector, actually the first one, my bad, they go into this left-hander. Is anyone gonna make a mistake? Not this time. Everyone has a nice little exit, while not too much under pressure. I mean, they're just very close to each other, and I wonder, is Tits gonna go for it? I think he is. Tits is absolutely diving it. He's diving it, and he's gonna try and overtake Falcon for P5 after this incredible, painful race for him. There's still a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel in the form of this fight between the German and the Italian. And as they go towards the breaking point for the right-hand side hairpin, the downhill one, Tits, very strong on the brakes, manages to get ahead of Falcon, and Falcon decides not to fight back too hard. In the meanwhile, also Darts in the same situation decides to give a dive bomb to Adrian, and maybe, just maybe, finally manages to get ahead of the Spaniard. So, amazing battle between the two of them too. But now Tits finally up to P5, 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go. Is he gonna be able, or does he have enough time to try and get a maneuver on Thomas is ready as well? I have no clue, of course, but we are gonna find out soon. In the meanwhile, there's also the battle between Valiant and Jason Short here on the left side scene, so Italian versus American. And while this happens, Tits, getting very wide. The only one that did not get wide was Falcon, so he may be back into an attacking position, but it was not really that aggressive this entire race. It was just very situationally, let's say, happy to take the occasions. So, as Alex tries desperately to gain that 2 seconds gap between him and Vipersonic, we can see Tits instead trying his absolute best to get to the back of Thomas, and Thomas managing not to concede an inch to the Italian driver. So, as the clock ticks towards 0, this is likely the last lap of this incredibly chaotic race, an incredibly dramatic race really here in Japan. I'm gonna hear probably a lot of mad drivers after this one, which is something I'm incredibly sorry for, so I'm really apologizing for whatever happened in this race, because I hope this was going to be a lot, cleaner, but it is what it is, I guess. And so, as the clocks tick to 0, as we can see Falcon now getting closer to Tits, and maybe close enough for a maneuver, I'm not too sure, it was not really close enough for a maneuver. They both go wide here, but not wide enough to get a maneuver done. They go towards the last sector, and now as Tits decides to go just for safety, defensive against Falcon, we move temporarily, as we get Falcon on the left hand side, towards Lobter, because despite everything, Lobter weaves on the main straight after dominating race 2 and wins for the second time in MYASS. Then we wait for Vipersonic in P number 2, hounded by Alex, who was able to catch him at the end of the race, but it's just not enough to get him into P2. So Viper P2, Alex in P3, then Thomas finishes in P4, followed by Tits, then Falcon, then as the biggest crash happens here, Darth manages to finish in a nice P7, nice and consistent, then Adriet P8, then Jason Short manages to conquer P9, a very hard-fought P9, but still points, so I guess that is something to be happy for, although he goes a lot wide on the last corner. And then we wait, of course, for Iron Alex and Valiant GB to finish the race in the top 11. Then we wait for forever, another not very happy race for him, as he goes into P12 actually, because we lost Alex Maggio currently. And then Spartanex and Magna Leggero still in a battle, although a minute late behind, getting towards the last part of the track. And so, as we wait for Spartanex to likely get one of the first experiences he had in this championship, a very harsh one, we go towards the last few corners, and somehow Spartanex manages to fend off Magna Leggero for the end of the race. And with this, round number 2 of MYASS is finally done and dusted. A very dramatic one, a very mad one for some drivers, of course. But thankfully, as we see people just crashing into each other, it's all over. And we take a deep breath, waiting for the next round, which is gonna be likely next week, but we're gonna talk about that later, of course. And now, as we wait, of course, for everyone to just get towards the end of the race, I'm gonna have a look at the chat, of course, to see people. I see Lopter saying that he would rather give birth instead of racing on this track, as it writes on the chat. And it rivals China as his least favorite track. And yeah, then it writes, never mind, after what I wonder it's gonna probably likely be race number 2. But so, race is over, and I'm gonna, of course, now go and sit inside the terrible interviews room, which has already Alex Maggio and Tits inside. So I'm gonna be a little bit scared, but let's take a little bit deep, big breath and go there.
Madonna, 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 Madonna. Buongiorno.
Hello, I am afraid to ask how you're feeling, because I've seen what happened, so I'm not really sure if that's the right question to ask.
No, it's not.
So,
I mean, I can't really complain, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the race from Alex was kind of nice. I mean, it got striken by Divine Judgment twice in race 2, but at least it had a nice result.
Yeah,
Well, instead,
I think he's got fucking stricken by Divine Judgment at least 10 times.
yeah, I mean, that happens. It, in MYASS, this is the kind of things you can kind of expect. But at the same time, of course, there's also Tits race, which was what can I say, really, kind of unfortunate, really.
I want to kill myself.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I was talking about. But
So basically, drive-through in the first race because a cable got behind my clutch pedal and I was pressing it like to 97% and not 100, so the car just barely rolled forward. So that's one. I then got killed by Falcon in the hairpin, so if there was any chance of me trying to recover good positions after the drive-through, it died. Then I spun a couple of times in race 1, and then in race 2, after a good start, I got spun around by Thomas, who later gave me back the position. Then I gained all the positions back. I overtook Dart, who was P3. I was gonna hunt Lobster and Viper. I was gonna have the time to do that, and I got basically fucked by my own connection, where me and Dart teleported inside of each other and we died. Then I made all the position back up again. I overtook E, but then I got clipped by the curb on turn 1, and I got spun. And then I guess I died another time. I don't remember. And then I made it all the way back up to P5. If I had one more lap, maybe I could have went for P4. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I can get the frustration because as I was saying in the commentary, we know that you have the pace like to fight for likely even P2 or even the win for the race 2, but you got stricken by, as I said, divine judgment multiple times, sometimes even more unfairly, especially with a crash on the straight between you and Dots. So, yeah, what can I say really? It was unfortunate, and I can fully understand, of course, the frustration, but at
I know
least...
what I can say. I'm out of the championship. If there was ever a chance of getting back in the championship fight, which I had this round, yeah, no, I'm done.
But I mean, look at the bright side, which is the fact that despite everything, you still managed to catch some nice positions in both races, which of course are not as big as you may have gotten them if everything went smoothly, but at the same time is better than DNFing or anything else really. So there's at least that.
I don't know, man. Also, I don't even know if I'm gonna be present for the next round. So I needed these points desperately. So yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something.
I can't really find a silver lining. I guess some of the moves were kinda okay. I did some good overtakes maybe, but yeah, not really happy in any way. But
well, you know what they say. Usually we say it is what it is. So I guess this is that kind of race. So
I guess.
So yeah, that being said, of course, with a very depressed Tits who has been killed more than once in this race, we also have Alex, who has won race 1 and then managed to get into P3 for race 2. And Alex, how would you describe these two races, if not, well, extremely calm on one side and extremely chaotic on the other?
I mean, at some point in both races, I had to defend myself because the chaos in VC was a bit too much to handle while trying to keep the car on track and the lead in race 1 in that occasion. But yeah, well, race 2, I knew that. Looking at how like the ambient was in race 1, I knew that stuff was gonna go down eventually. So I tried to be a bit more cautious, but I mean, stuff happens. I think it was me and Valiant who made contact, and I unfortunately spun. I think he spun as well. I'm not sure about that. And well, I did lose quite a big chunk of time. I'm not sure if that would have enabled me to go chase Lobster or not. And then I did make another mistake, which cost me like 8 more seconds, but that's irrelevant now because, well, the race is gone. One thing I regret though is sending a never on move on Thomas in one of the corners, because then I lost like another 2 seconds, which then compromised me getting P2. So, well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's a bit easy to talk about it now that the race is over, but yeah, then obviously everything was a bit tense and stuff, so you weren't really thinking about what you were doing on track, you were just relying on your instinct. But I mean, in the end, I'm still happy to be in the championship fight, even though it's going to be very tight in Le Mans. There's, well, barely 27 points between me and Falcon, who's the leader. So it's gonna be
26,
very
yeah.
exciting. Yep.
The worst part is mathematically I'm still in this fight. Mathematically, because there's what? How many points up for grabs for P1?
Well, it should be. I'm not too sure really if it's gonna be double points or even triple points for the last race because it was like that. There was like that
I mean, the thing
stupid
is,
idea, but I think
if
we're gonna stay with double points because, of course, that's gonna be a little bit too
if
much
it
with
was
triple.
normal, I would need a win, and for Falcon to not score more than 2 points, because I think that on even, like if we finished with the even amount of points, like the same amount of points, he might win. I don't know, because I have a win in round 1, he has a win in round 4, but we both have only 1 win. So, but if it's double points, then yeah, I mean, I am mathematically in the championship, but everyone down to P7 is still in there. So either a miracle happens or.
Just on a side note,
Yeah.
in race 1, since I had a bit of a gap in like the bigger straights, I kind of grabbed one of my slices of focaccia and ate it to kill time because I was hungry. Just a little side note.
I mean, we're gonna have to keep that in mind, of course, while we watch the replay in the background. So, yeah, that being said.
If you ever saw me like jagging from side to side, now you know why.
I mean, that makes sense. I probably was, if I ever saw that, but I don't think so because I was probably more looking at the rest of the grid. That's likely. I was probably thinking, oh yeah, he's warming back the tires, but I feel like probably that's not the truth now that we know what happened.
I mean, not with 66 degrees track temp. I wouldn't do that. But
Absolutely, makes absolute sense.
Why would you do that, Alpha? Why would you? I was practicing.
He's getting ready for the endurance, lads, because of course, being a nice long race.
Actually, I want to add one thing that made it exceptionally horrible for the driving experience that I had was the fact that I was the fastest driver on track. Because when in race 1 Maggio did the 39.7, even though I couldn't put it together, so technically I wasn't, I had a 39.5 as a best, and I was around the same pace in race 2, where I was catching up everybody. I almost managed to pull up a podium after like getting reset to P10 a couple of times. So that even makes it even worse. I do have the fastest lap. I have all the 3 fastest sectors and the fastest lap, but the fastest lap is still a 40 because I couldn't put together an actually good lap. That's the worst part. The fact that I was flying and it was all basically for nothing. I did gain some positions, but I'm still out of the championship, so yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what they say.
It feels horrible.
You know what they say. Questo è il karting, as we say, so.
Lo dico io questo che cos'è mortacci.
So with these words of wisdom from Tits and of course from Alex as well, the only last thing I want to ask is next round is gonna be the last one with the Miatas, which of course cars you are absolutely loving, I'm sure of it. I hope it's the sarcasm is you know, palpable. But that being said, next round is gonna be Le Mans with these cars, and it's gonna be one hell of a endurance race. So I know Tits probably is not gonna answer this one because he said multiple times that likely is not gonna be able to race in it. But Alex,
I don't know.
yes.
what do you expect from the Le Mans endurance race with these cars?
Sorry.
Alright, yeah. Makes sense.
Tanto maggio.
Makes sense, I guess. Alright, so
Adesso maggio io.
yeah, I guess that being said, yeah, what can I say? Thank to both of you, both for surviving this and, you know, being patient enough to see through the end of this one. And I'll see you for whoever it's here next time around. I'll see you in the next round.
Yeah, I'll see you at the end of the interviews.
Alright.
Mashallah, Lehman.
Alright,
Yeah,
bye.
later. I'll move up the people.
Bye, thank you. Oh man, that was quite the interview to make, quite the difficult one. But now we have two of the other protagonists we had in this race, Falling Falcon and Viper Sonic. So, who wanna talk first?
I guess I'm going first then.
Okie dokie. So,
yeah.
up to you. How was the race, Falcon? Both of them.
First one was kinda bad because I murdered Tiz on the first lap because I couldn't see my braking marker. His ass was in the way, and then lost 4 positions. And then after that, every single lap lost half a second because I couldn't see that exact braking marker because there was black lines covering it now. And still managed to get a P2 because Thomas went into the gravel, and yeah. Second race was one hell of a chaos show because reverse grid and all the slow guys were not really that safe, which led to all of us, Tiz, me, Alex, Jen, Thomas, just getting repeatedly murdered. And then I think I got a P5 or 6 in the end.
Yeah, it was quite a chaotic show, especially in race number 2. Which I mean, if you want to see the replay, you will see that already from your point of view, you see a lot of chaos. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot you haven't seen because it happened really everywhere else on the track as well. So trust me, it was
I heard
quite a
some
show.
of the chaos, but yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was a nice little round, this one, points-wise. So,
Yeah.
from your point of view, surely it was, I mean, chaotic, but still a nice finishing result. Instead, from Falcon point of from Viper point of view, Viper, how were your 2 races here?
So in the first race, I got involved in this accident in the first laps, which cost me a bit, and then bunch of, Dart was holding on behind me for the wall race, so he was putting up some pressure, but yeah, he didn't get enough, and I finished P4, I think. And in race 2, reversed grid, bunch of things happened, I did nothing and finished P2.
Well, I mean, sometimes just doing nothing or just staying out of the chaos is more than enough, let's say, to get into some nice positions, and I think your race 2 kinda show that, which is more than what you may have hoped for, really.
Hell yeah.
And there's just one thing I wanted to ask, because I was looking at your lap times and everything, and I was wondering this one. Did you actually have a setup with your car, or were you just driving the stock one?
I did modify some things, but it's mostly stock or worse.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, I'm using the slightly modified default one as always. I think the only thing I really changed is tire pressures and doing to 0.
Okay, makes sense, because I was wondering, because of course looking at Viper was like, I'm pretty sure he can go faster than that, but I was not really wondering too hard, let's say, or just thinking too hard about that. So it just was like my personal wondering while looking at both your races. So, with this incredibly chaotic and dramatic, and with a lot of mad people round done and dusted, next one is gonna be, of course, the long-awaited, I mean, kinda, Le Mans race, which is gonna be, of course, an endurance, which we decided it's gonna be just 2 hours, not 2 hours and something, and neither 1 hour and something. So the one thing I wanna ask is, how are you looking towards this next round, especially, you know, considering that Falcon is fighting for potentially the title and Viper is still fighting for, yeah, a lot of points.
I don't know. I'm just gonna, as always, show up for the practice, then do the practice laps, and then do the race. No practicing beforehand because I don't have time. And yeah, it's still a bit sad that it's only so short. would have been nice for like 6 hours or so. But I guess my opinion is kind of irrelevant because I would have done 24 hours. So.
I mean, I did the poll because, of course, I wasn't not sure if 2 hours and something were too much and 1 hour and something were too short. So I did like that, and you got like, you know, 6 votes for one and 6 votes for the other. So it was like, yeah, let's just use the middle ground at this point. So sorry if the race is a little bit shorter, of course, but I guess that's the way to make everyone either happy or let's say angry.
Half of the guys are angry, half of the guys are happy.
It is what it is. And about you, Viper, instead, how you're looking forward to the Le Mans race?
Yeah, that is a track designed for endurance racing, so consistency will be important. And yeah, I will just drive and hope for the best.
Okie dokie. So, with these 2 very tired drivers from all the chaos we had so far, what can I say? Have you got anything else you want to say here now live, or you want to just go and get some rest now that you can?
No.
Oh, I'm gonna go eat because I haven't had anything yet.
Okay, I guess I've held you way too long here, so have a nice, I don't know, dinner or whatever you're gonna eat, and have a nice one. So thank you for being here, and enjoy.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, indeed. So, as we wait, of course, for all the drivers to get into the interview rooms, we wonder who's gonna be the next one. Either a mad driver or someone very happy. And the answer is Thomas is ready, and forever. So, hello lads. First of all, most important question, how are you?
I'm tired. My neck hurts, my arm hurts, my soul is broken into 300 pieces.
I am mostly fine, actually.
Okay, so who wants to go first, describing both races?
I think Thomas did. I mean, he was in the most lively part of the race, so I think he has more to say
Alright,
than me.
guess let's start then.
Okay, up to you, Thomas. How was your race?
Alright, so Okayama is a track I actually know quite well. I have raced here multiple times with various cars. This wasn't the worst cars I've driven this track with, so it wasn't terrible. However, it was not the greatest. The understeer on this car and like the weird way it has to be driven makes it kind of like counterintuitive. So you need to experiment a lot to figure out how to go fast. And for some reason, the tire, like the air temp, like the air in this server was set up very weirdly. So compared to my personal best, I was lapping 4 times lower just on pure straight line speed. And that was weird to understand where I was going faster, where I was going slower, because it was not going to, like, the difference wasn't, oh, here the delta is going green, so I'm going faster. No, here the delta is going slightly less red than usual. So I don't understand if it's better, if it's just because I'm slowing down less, because the straight is shorter. So that was kind of the game I was playing. But the racing was... I would say it was fine, but it was also interesting in a way. So for most of race 1, I was kind of like in my own place, 7 seconds behind Maggio, of course, because you cannot stay close to that guy, and like 5 seconds ahead of, I think, Falcon. Yeah, it was Falcon. However, about like 4 to 5 laps before the end of race 1, on turn 2, I cut too much of the curb. After analyzing the replay, I found out I hit a bump in the grass, which made my car go more to the inside of the curb, which made the right tire go onto the little white part outside of the curb, which completely unsettled the car, and I did a 360 spin instantly, completely unpredictably, and I lost the 6 seconds gap I had on Falcon, which meant I lost the position with like 3 or 4 laps to go.
So that is what happened exactly, because of course, I'm gonna be completely honest, I kind of missed that on the broadcast, because it was like, you know, usually just have a look at the gaps, so it was like, yeah, 6 seconds, it looks quite safe. Then at some point I saw that go down dramatically to 0, and it was like, wait, what the hell happened? So I couldn't really catch the crash live, but you know, knowing that what happened, I think it's something similar that happened to Tits as well during race 2, although I'm not too sure, because it happened to him in turn number 1, so I'm not sure if it's the same thing.
Yeah, it should have been the same thing. He was going to show it to me, but yeah, then I got pulled into the interview room. But
Okay.
from what I understand, it was a similar thing. He also had even worse luck, because on the straight, I mean, I think he's going to recount that, so I will not give any spoilers.
No, I mean, I think I'm not sure if we're gonna have darts in the interview, but I'm pretty sure Tits already told some of it. We saw that live, so I'm pretty sure I saw what happened in the straight. And yeah, that's just not even unfortunate. That's just like, you know, divine punishment for literally nothing. So kind of sad for what happened to him, but you know, it is what it is, really. So although it's sad, it's also what happened, and we can't really rewind time. So that's the bad thing about this.
Yeah. Regarding race 2, it went actually quite well. First part was actually very fun, because we were like all bunched up, all making silly mistakes. I did kill Tits, who was furious, like he was properly mad. So since I felt very, very bad, since it was completely my fault, it was turn 3, like the airpin, right? I think it was like turn 5. It counts as turn 5, but really, it's yeah, that hairpin, the first hairpin there is on the track. I kill him there, and I do not know what I was trying to do there. I kill him. I try to unspin him, but I end up doing nothing really, and he loses like 5 positions, if not more. So at the end, I just decide to drop back the grid, like drop at the back of the grid, let him pass, to give him back the position after I caused his death, because I actually didn't lose many positions, even though it was my fault. But luckily, we had fortune on our side for once, and we managed to climb back up to P4 and P5 respectively, if I recall correctly, because, of course, Alex Maggio shows up and destroys us. I was wishing to get a P2, like if we ignore Maggio, which would have overtaken me regardless, but I was wishing to get a P2 because Vipersonics was actually lapping between 5 to 8 tenths lower than me per lap, every lap.
Actually,
Now,
do you know the actual lap time? Because I'm not sure if I saw that live. Because I think the race was like 41s or 40s, like race pace, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was doing about 41.8, 41.5. I was doing 41s, if not 40.9s, 40.8s. I don't know why, but second race I was lapping alpha second, if not 6 tenths lower. I do not know why.
Likely because of the battles. It's very likely because of the battles.
Yeah, it was weird, because at the end of race 1 I was still lapping those like 40.5s and stuff, but I could not do it in race 2. I don't know, whatever. Still, I was gaining. Probably if I had pushed a little bit more without Alex Maggio in the way, well, not in the way, overtaking me, I might have been able to catch up to him, because he was like 2.5 seconds away from me, and I was behind Maggio when we crossed the start-finish line. So maybe, possibly, could have gotten a P2 if I, of course, didn't have Maggio in the way and was actually good at the video game. So 2 very big ifs.
Well, I mean, despite everything, I think you had quite a solid result both in race 1 and race 2. So I think overall it was a nice result for both for this entire round. So yeah, from that point of view, I mean, there's nothing much to say.
Good race. Yeah, all in all, very fun.
Instead, I think one person that would have to say the otherwise, or I think probably has a different opinion, is the other guy here in this interview room, which is of course Forever. So, Forever, do you wanna say anything about this?
Okay, then no. How can I say it? I'm actually a little bit disappointed because in the tests I managed to reach the 40s, which was basically the top 10 mean time. And I was happy about it, but yeah, it was too good to be true. So yeah, for both race 1 and race 2, I was in race pace between the 41s and the 42s, so I had to stay in the back lines. The first race was pretty calm. I mean, yeah, I'm with Thomas here. The start was pretty fun. We were all packed. There was always something to do, and then by 3 laps, everyone was spread out, and it became the usual go around for 30 minutes while doing nothing. But this is karting now, and so. Yeah, from my point of view, there were not really that much in race 1. In race 2, it was a little bit different because one time a sage said, when you are on a reverse grid, shit happens, and it happened. So it was a little bit hectic, and I somehow managed to survive it all. Well, until the end of the race. Then by like 10 minutes left, I started to do silly stuff like shifting into the wrong gear and whatnot. So I started 5th. I ended up 11th. So yeah, basically it was that. But yeah, it was pretty hectic with a span there, a touch there, add a little bit of mischief by the top racers, like the top 5. Maggio incredibly wasn't first all the time. I mean, it's something that you don't see everywhere and always. But yeah, it surely was one of the races of all time. Bad feelings aside, it will be probably one of the most beloved memories I have of this championship. And hopefully we are not under the FIA, because it will be their worst nightmare.
No, as I said many times already, despite what may look on stream as pure terrorism, which I mean it is really, we are not gonna take deliberate penalties, except of course if someone decides to deliberately kill someone else. That's the only case we're gonna probably take a look. But other than that, I feel like this is how it ends for the positions. So
yeah, like perfect. I'm seeing the stream now, and I just saw the.
Yeah, that's just one example to say the least.
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, you did it perfectly. You managed to create a championship where all the Mercedes fans are united. So it was. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, pure terrorism. So, the last question I have, of course, for both of you is the fact that next round is gonna be the Le Mans race, the endurance for the final part of this championship. So, sadness aside for leaving these cars behind, which, I mean, probably left you with either scars or good memories, how are you feeling about a final race in Le Mans to end off this entire championship?
For me, to be honest, seeing how the car goes, I mean, yeah, it's a Miata, but it's GT7's Miata, which is really weird. It like goes to 300 kilometers an hour if you have enough space to do so. So yeah, I actually don't know. I'll have to try, because Le Mans is a track that I don't usually run on, because yeah, I like the hypercars. I like to drive them, but Le Mans never gave me a good feeling, meaning that it didn't always attract me to try it. So I probably stick to it and not train on it until Friday, because I literally have some figures to do. But yeah, it would be a surprise because with these cars, you will either have the time to do a shower and go back by the time you reach the final. By the time you end Mulsanne Strait, or you will be there in under 10 seconds. I really don't know about it. The 2 hour. The 2 hour timer is not really that much of a worry because I mean we did half an hour, 1 hour and a half for the other endurances. Half an hour more is not really a problem. Would I like though to keep the tradition of wacky stuff happening on the track with the other endurances, and since this is the last event. I would prefer having something really weird happening always all the time.
Okay, we'll keep that, of course, in mind. And Thomas, how about you?
Yes, so 2 hours is a very long time. I know Le Mans. I do not know Le Mans with a Miata. I will probably practice a little bit more than what I did for this race, although I did practice a tiny bit for this race, more than the others at least. I'm excited. I wonder what chaos it's going to be. I hope it's not going to be like an hour and a half of driving in a straight line all alone and like 30 minutes of raging because something went wrong. So yeah. Going back to the terrorism, it is actually not that bad. Like, all in all, for a league with essentially no rules, this is very, very good racing. Like, the standard is pretty high, speaking from experience. Like, yeah, I've been in leagues with 8 sections long, and each section has like 5 commas for a racing rulebook. And in that league, we were not having any clean races. While here, with 0 rules, aside from don't kill each other, please, I am the worst offender. So like that it's good.
Well, that's of course very heartwarming to hear, to say the least. So, yeah, that being said, what can I say really? Thank both of you for participating in this race, and I'm gonna wait to see you in the next one, of course.
Sure.
Sounds good.
See you all next week, I guess.
Yep.
See ya.
So, thank you, and see ya next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
While this happens, I'm gonna put the replay for race 2, because we had more than 30 minutes worth of discussion here. And as we wait for the next person in the interview room, which is gonna be Adrian and Jason Schultz. Oh boy.
Drag me in.
So,
Hello.
who wants to start first? Because there's likely a lot to say, I think.
I mean, I don't have that much to say.
I don't know,
I mean,
maybe.
I'm assuming Alpha has much to say to you.
It's
I don't
back
know.
to reality
I'm
for me.
excited.
I mean, you didn't really do anything too bad. Actually, I think you did some nice racing. I mean, if you see,
I
if
was
you
trying to not kill anyone.
I mean, if you see the replays, especially for race 2, you will understand that we had so much terrorism that likely you are probably the two of less offend. I mean, I don't really recall you doing any accidents, so really, I don't have anything
I
to
think
say
I
to you.
had a touch with Forever, but it was like nothing in my screen. But I think Darth is the one that hit him after that.
Yeah, I mean, there was some interesting crashes, surely, but I'd like to hear from both of you how you lived both race 1 and race 2. So let's start actually from you, Adrian. How was both of your races?
Well, starting with, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I started the championship without any problems, but then now I'm consistently getting bad starts. Either I spin the wheel, or it doesn't like go forward. So I'm losing a lot on the starts doing. Then people on race 1 crashed. I got up to P4, I think.
and then it was just fighting the losing fight against all the faster cars that managed to hold on P7 because there was no one behind me at that point, and I had a pretty boring race, like 15 minutes of nothing, like me being alone on P7. And then on the second race, I just park on the back of the group and eat popcorn watching them kill each other.
A good way to put it.
Well, I mean, there was surely a lot of battling, especially all around. But
Yeah.
in this
Yeah,
kind
I was
of
on
races,
the back of the group and I watched every terrorism happen in front of me. And I was like, I don't want any of that.
yeah, I mean, the
just
good
want to
thing, is
race my race.
sometimes you see the battle around you and you think, you know, it's nice to be here racing alone on my own little bubble. So I kind of get the feeling.
Yeah, like I think I prefer a lot the endurance ones. I really like the calm and having a stint being alone doing my stuff. And having the component of strategy also played a part.
Well, the good thing is, of course, that the next round, which is going to be, as I said before, the last one, is going to be an endurance one, and probably the longest of them all, because it's going to be 2 hours.
To that one.
So
I didn't really like this track, to be honest.
it's okay. It's
It's a great track.
It's very technical. The point is that it's very technical. It's
I didn't find the flow that I found in Dragon Trail. Like I felt my best lap is like a 40.3 in practice, but I still having that, I felt slow. It didn't feel good to ride. I don't know if you know what I mean, but
Well,
it just didn't click for me.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. It can happen to have tracks that you don't enjoy as much as others. So I guess this is like your race from Raceway for me, just like it's Laguna Seca for Tits, for example.
I don't feel like was
count. Next
like
lap will not count.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
That's a classic.
I was pretty solid on pace. I think I was doing 41, like every lap. It just I'm not as fast as the others. Like in race 1, it was pretty clear. Like I was losing like 2 tenths. Going back slowly, but going back.
But at least it's over with this round. Now you can just concentrate on the next one, which is gonna be quite the track surely to race. But I'm sure knowing how you do in endurance races is gonna be probably more fun than what you probably experienced in this one. Now,
I mean, the second race was fun.
It was.
But the first one was pretty boring, the second half.
But now, speaking of experiences, there's another guy here who had a lot of experiences, and this, of course, the American Jason Short, also known as E. So,
hello.
How were your races?
I mean, before I recount my experiences, I'd rather you... Do you have any particular questions about me and my races from what you observed?
Well, I mean, there was like your valiant absolute effort to defend what was it, P3 even? How did you even get into P3 in race 2? Because at some point it was like, what the...
Okay, I guess I could kind of I'll go chronologically and then we'll get to that point there. Well, I'm assuming first that you saw a good bit of my scheme at some point. What do you think of the scheme?
Yeah, I mean, the phrase "hope is the last thing you lose" is absolutely still
true.
Hope
is the last thing to lose, and race 1 was a bit interesting. Going into it, I know I had a fast car. I'm just not fast myself. It felt like a complete rocket. I'm sure the track surface had something to do with it. It was a hot track surface car. The tires went up to temp pretty much as soon as you hit the track. It was kind of interesting. Didn't do that well in qualifying. People just kind of had the corners better than me, which happens. But I was having a good time, and I'll go into the race, and I start and I go, and I don't have the best start ever, but that's how it goes. But I get into the corner, someone gets alongside me, I let him pass because I'm not going to kill him. I'm not going to kill myself. And then someone else comes up behind me, and he has to let me. I had to let him go, and then we get into a corner. What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the 5th corner to hairpin. Valiant gets up behind me. I go in deep because I'm trying to take over the positions I just lost because I'm not really that good at racecraft. So I go in really deep, but not too deep. These are cold tires. Valiant goes in even deeper and completely pins me from the back. Knowing what I know now, I have to wonder if it was a bit of desync, if I just kind of died ahead of him and he was nowhere near me. But on my end, with my internet, he absolutely blasted me off the corner. So I had to recover what little bit I had. And I think I got spun again in race 1 as well. That or I went over by myself. I don't remember. But I had to climb through the field twice, kind of Nürburgring-esque to me at least. But maybe there's a bit of an upside to this. There's always race 2. Race 2 is always, flip the coin on its head and see what happens. So everyone that is slow starts in front. And I think there's a sandboard for this, actually. Anyway. So we start. We all get kind of going. A few people die, a few more people die, a few more people die, and somehow I'm holding 3rd place with a hard charging Maggio and Falcon behind. And I was sitting there. The mission plan from then forward was to somehow hold that for 17 minutes. And with the way they drive, that was going to be a hard task in itself. I think I had let a few other really fast people go already. I think Thomas and Tiz in particular. So if I wanted to keep those positions, it would be a hard challenge. But don't worry, I got off easy. My internet killed me for me. So I go into the 2nd corner. I'm like a full car or 2 length or width, to the left of Falcon. And his car just clips into me. And then I die. And that's sort of the end of the race for me. I kind of had to recover position, same as Tiz. So that was unfortunate. But I had a lot of fun. This was one of my better races, I think. I found an unfortunate statistic about myself. Of the 5 races that we have ran, there is, a number of people that have done all of them. I am the last person in the list, in the grid, that has done all the races. Like in terms of points, I am dead last, and by a big margin. I think it's forever in front of me with 41, and I have 19.
But
So
you are there, which is something to be proud of.
I mean, yeah, I guess I'm in the middle. But next race is a double points, so that's something different to deal with as well, and a good bit longer. So on pit stops, more chances to maybe edge out or edge the competition, you could say.
And the only question I have actually about this entire race, and possibly also Le Mans, is the modification on your roll bar made to be able to accommodate for endurance race and be able to, eat during the long hours, or?
It depends. I came into this race fully fed, so I didn't have to eat off my roll bar at all. But if I was to go into the endurance hungry, it's a backup. It's like military MREs, except in roll bar form. That's kind of what the spaghetti roll bar is all about. That
is perfect.
Yeah, hope's the last thing you lose,
Yeah, and also with locked-in face on the front and the Assetto Corsa 7 Skies Unknown on the back, which are pretty.
I'm glad you caught that. Yeah, it's great.
Pretty bloody nice. Also, I love the fuel cap, which I noticed while looking at the livery before uploading it. So absolutely fantastic. Actually, let me show it real quick on stream because I didn't actually show it, I think, during the actual race or during the practice. But there's the incredible cap, which is here, which I just absolutely love. But yeah, what can I say really? Round done and dusted. Good points for both of you. And well, since you are still online, what do you want to say before going and leave, of course, the interview room to anyone else?
Let's see. With 6 people in my grasp, I paused the EP1 Season 4 draft regulations for this. Come up next week to Miata Euro Speedstar and go fast.
Fantastic. And Didrit, how about you?
I'm looking forward to the next one. I'll try to make a strategy that's different. Maybe I can squeeze one less pistol than the others. Because I think I'm pretty good on my tires and pretty good on my fuel for what it seems. In Dragon Trail I was not saving fuel at all, and you saw how late I pitted.
And that's gonna be crucial once again.
Yeah, I think I have a chance of having a good result.
And we look forward to that. So,
Yeah. We'll see.
thanks to both of you once again, and well, I'll see you around in the next week.
All right.
Bye bye, have a nice one.
Bye bye.
And thus, we wait for the next few racers to go into the interview room, which I wonder who are they're gonna be. We're gonna find out quite soon, as we either hear a loud Bestemian Italian, which is signaling tits entering the stream, or whatever really, we have no clue. And as we wait, we get, an interesting lad here in the interview room, and I'm not sure if it's anyone else coming. I don't hear
Yeah,
much.
this will be coming in a second. They first have to set up the NAS costume.
Okay, makes sense. So maybe we'll take the occasion to actually interview you in the meanwhile. So, Spartanex, my friend. Okay, here's it.
I think that's okay.
Actually, yep, I got it right. Yeah, so your first race in, don't laugh, MYASS. How was it?
I mean, race 1 I wanted to kill myself, I think.
Okay.
No, race 1, I did the practice, and before the race, the little fuel thing was like, oh yeah, you're gonna have enough fuel for like 35 minutes of race. I was like, awesome. And then it didn't.
Okay, so I guess I kind of missed probably that happening during the broadcast, but mainly because there was a lot of other stuff happening, so probably missed that. But yeah, that maybe explains what happened.
I died right on the uphill there.
Oh man, okay, that's...
So yeah, no, I just moved over to the side and then I went to the pits. It was the most depressing way to end the race 1, but race 2 went fine. I was at least hanging behind the Manjajiro. It was fine.
I mean, at least there's some good experience. I mean, of course, I saw that the pace wasn't really there to fight with the top guys, but at least considering it's the debut race, I guess it's absolutely fine to be there.
It's yeah. I also like had no practice at all. I've been a little busy with uni exams.
Oh yeah, so even more, understandably, so I cannot really blame anyone. Yeah, I fully understand. I mean, we almost everyone has been there, so yeah, we know.
So yeah, tonight I was like, I should probably familiarize myself with the track.
I mean, the good thing is, I mean, the one thing I probably know that didn't really help too much is the fact that most of the guys were running some setup to get the maximum out of the car, so probably not running with that already is a big disadvantage. So I guess there's also that to be said. But at the same time, as I said before, thankfully, being just the debut race, no one is expecting anything. So it's nice to have you here, running laps and everything.
I was fully expecting to be running roundabout last, so I was here for a good time. I mean, first race.
Did you have your good time?
Last round. Oh, I did. Oh, I had fun.
Yes, we had fun in MYASS.
Race 1 was crazy because at the start I was like, all right, well, I'm going into turn 1 and I don't want to be the guy that misses the braking zone and kills someone, right? And then I get there and there's like 16 people off the sides.
Yeah, that's just the
That's
typical
what
MYASS stat, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's what happens in my ass every day.
That is absolutely alrighty. And yeah,
Testicular.
what can I say? Next race, which is sadly gonna be the last one, of course, for the championship, but still it's gonna happen. It's gonna be, of course, the endurance race in Le Mans, which I don't know how much you know the Le Mans track. Hopefully, hopefully you do, but it's quite a long.
Not much, but I also won't be able to be there.
So yeah, it's quite a long track, of course, and being an endurance is gonna be even longer. So I wonder,
Yeah,
are you gonna be there?
22
Are you gonna
hours.
be struggling for the for the
No,
entirety of 2
unfortunately,
hours?
I won't make it.
Ah, Sam.
Also, I genuinely don't think I have it in me. I don't got the dog in me to do 2 hours.
It's such a shame, but it's
also,
okay.
no. Only reason I was here is because it's Valentine's. There was no Lancer, and I was able to rope my girlfriend into being a race engineer.
That's nice. That's nice. Well, I mean, at least you got some nice fun tonight, so that's the best
Yeah,
thing.
it was fun. Yeah, and I also didn't finish last. I'll take it.
Absolutely.
Last, thanks to the last lap little spin.
Absolutely testicular.
But that's great, of course. That's great stuff. Great fun, and yeah. I mean, I would like to ask more stuff, but really, I don't really know what to ask at this point because
Yeah,
we
no,
interview most of the.
I was
people.
doing nothing. I was doing some bullshit. Is what I was doing.
That's alright. That's alright. But I mean, I'm looking at the stream. You were driving nicely, so it's okay. And yeah. What can I say? It's been a long day. I was gonna say without you, my friend, but that's for another thing. So,
It's gonna be next race.
yeah, likely that's gonna be next race. So, I'm a little tired. I'm gonna be completely honest, but that's okay. We got the interviews done. We got everything together, and we got Tits
Are
here
you
in the
ready to
interview room.
Yes. Hello.
I mean, we're gonna keep Sparta next year as well because I mean, let's be completely honest. It is his occasion to shine for once because he wasn't there for the past few rounds, and now he can be here for the whole world to be
I'm
heard.
just happy I got to show off my livery.
I mean, yeah, it's absolutely. I love the livery also because nice little reference. I actually quoted that in the practice spot. I was like looking at the new levers and it was like I like the reference both to Armored Core and Lancer, which is of course not known.
I have one thing to say. He did join the championship. He said he wanted to race, and in the end, he did at least one race.
I did one.
Yeah, that's commendable.
Still
that's
better
absolutely
than some
commendable.
other people. So congratulations, Spartanex. A lot of respect for you.
I did one, and I didn't finish last. Honestly, that's all I could have asked for.
That's
peak.
fantastic.
Absolute peak.
So
I came in and I said, I just don't want to be last, and that's what I did. So I'm very happy for myself.
absolutely.
You know how how I
fantastic.
like to say in my ass, I came, I saw, I came.
Well,
Yep. Totally.
with this bombshell, let's say for tonight. what can I say? We all survived with this chaos-driven, bombastic piece of car driving on track, and now that this is done and dusted, all I can say is goodbye to, I mean, not goodbye, more like see you soon, of course, to everyone in the chat and who is watching and recovering this whole stream. And yeah, with all of the
Join
three
downtown.
Italians here, we can say, yeah, first of all, join downtown. Actually, I still have to link the bloody server.
For you,
I
you
forget. I absolutely forget every single time. I swear to God. Actually, let me just do it real quick right now. So at least
suboptimal.
is there a link? Oh, there's.
Slightly suboptimal.
Let me just.
You should have turned right and you instead turned
Let me.
Ever so slightly suboptimal.
Okay, let me just put it in the chat so at least people who watch the stream can, at least recover something. And that being said, yeah, see you soon, lads. Next time in France for the last
Good luck,
race.
in Le Mans. I won't be doing that.
For the last race of this championship.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye bye. See you around. And of course, please do not rear-end the car in front of you. Have a good night.
Slightly suboptimal.